On YouTube at ESPN Los Angeles, this is a Rams training camp special with Marcus Grant from NFL Network and Andy Kamenetzky.
Training camp coverage on ESPN LA presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at Pechanga, just off I-15 in Temecula. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations or more information.
Bringing you all the sights and sounds of Rams training camp. Marcus and Andy live from Rams training camp on your Sunday right now. Now let's head to the practice field at LMU. Time for Marcus and Andy and the Rams training camp special right now.
And it is the final day of AK and Marcus-a-Palooza. We've had 3 straight, man. We've had a good time. We have also now, we are witnessing the final day of Rams training camp before, I was about to say things get serious, but the preseason's coming next, and the preseason is never serious. But we are like a couple days more than a month off from the actual games starting. Like the end of training camp is just a reminder that we are that much closer to the Rams' official 2025 season.
It's great, right? And the weather's been great. It's been a great time out here at LMU the last few days. We were out here yesterday. I know you were out here with Mace. I was out here on Wednesday. The crowds have been exciting. It was great yesterday to see Aaron Donald in attendance, to see the pop that he got, watching the fans go nuts when Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Matthew Stafford, all these guys, Jared Verse taking the field. So looking forward to what should be another fun day of practice here. Hopefully we get to talk to a couple of guys. I see Jimmy G making his way, looking as handsome as ever.
Well, I mean, he can't turn that off and on, Marcus. It's just who he is.
It's not a switch. You just can't flip that sort of thing.
No, I don't think there's an ugly switch for Jimmy G to flip towards. This is just who the man is. But you're right. Like, fans are really hyped about this season. Last year, I know the Rams did not get as far as they wanted, but they did give the Super Bowl champion Eagles probably their most difficult test in the playoffs. Yeah. They've got a young defense that's trending in the right direction that seemed to be ahead of schedule. They've got Devontae Adams added into the mix. I think, forget just replacing Cooper Kupp. He is, respectfully to Cooper Kupp, an upgrade over Kupp. I think he and Puka Nacua together can be really dangerous. There's a lot to be excited about with this team, and that's good because the NFC, and in particular the NFC West, I think is going to be a really, really tough 2025 for the Rams.
Yeah, it was interesting yesterday. We got to talk to Tyler Higbee after practice. We asked him about what it's like having Devontae on the team. I thought it was very funny the way he said, some guys can just do things that other guys can't. And Devontae Adams, even after this many years in the league, still just has, abilities that a lot of guys just don't have. And so, you bring that element to this offense with Sean McVey on the controls, with Puka Nacua out there on the other side, and it does just add an element to this offense that, even with Cooper Kupp when he was at his best, great receiver, Devontae Adams can just do things Cooper Kupp couldn't, so it just adds a different element to this offense.
Plus, Devontae Adams has not played meaningful football in a couple years. He has left the, as he put it, his words, not ours, the dark place that was the Rams. And I'm guessing that the Jets were no lighter of a place for him to be.
No, I mean, he had his old pal Aaron Rodgers there, but the Jets just sort of typified dysfunction.
I mean, there's only so much joy that just palling around with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that feels like a loaded statement, and I swear it was not meant to be. I'm just saying there's only so much that's going to substitute for playing on a good team, playing for stakes. The best years of Devontae Adams was playing with Aaron Rodgers for stakes with the Packers. He's now back in a place where he's playing for stakes again. And for a guy that talented who's been away from it for a couple of years, that's got to be exciting.
And I think it's interesting, too, because you look at the last couple of stops that he's made, and some of it, not all of it, but there was definitely a portion of it where he made moves based on his relationship with quarterbacks, right? Part of him going to the Raiders was reuniting with his old college quarterback and friend, Derek Carr. He was there for basically a year. The Raiders blew Carr out, ended up sending him to New Orleans. So that, in turn, led to Davante sort of wanting out. He leaves. He goes to New York, where he reunites with his old quarterback from Green Bay in Aaron Rodgers. That didn't quite work out as well. Aaron, between the injury and just generally sort of doing his own thing, putting it nicely.
Very politically correct
putting
way
it
of putting
nicely,
it.
doing his own thing, sort of led to the breakup of that. And now here's Davante, a situation where he's I would say the new guy. I mean, I guess he is sort of the new guy, but it's not that he's here because there's another person here or another situation here. It's that he looks at this and says, here's a chance for me to win, knowing that I'm getting on in my career, looking for that chance to chase a championship again, and this giving him maybe the best real opportunity.
It's also, too, like in the same way that when Matthew Stafford first arrived with the Rams, that trade with Detroit, like there's a rejuvenation for Matthew Stafford when he comes here and he finds the immediate success, but also he's gonna turn. I looked this up today. If the Rams made it to the Super Bowl this year, Matthew Stafford will turn 38 the day before the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
The Super Bowl is February 8th. His 38th birthday is February 7th. So it's a reminder, A, that Matthew Stafford is getting up there, but also he's been doing this for a long time. And when you've been doing this stuff for a long time, I think athletes who've been in the league forever, something new is really exciting for them because they've been there and done that. Matthew Stafford has basically done everything you can in this league, including now winning a Super Bowl. And as you get older, it gets harder to get up for this stuff. A guy like Davante Adams can bring a new level of excitement to Matthew Stafford that helps make doing this bleep again at age 37 with a back that everybody's monitoring. It makes it that much more exciting. It makes it that much more inspiring to get up and go do the work.
No, I agree with you completely because I think you see it a lot of times. I say on the coaching side, right, where even if you are successful, especially on the pro level, at some point you are giving the same message primarily to some of the same groups of players, and that after a while, no matter how good you are as a coach or how much you try to change things, at some point, if you've been there for a few years, you can walk in the meeting room and you can have a pretty good idea of what the head coach is going to say. And I think for players, it's sort of the same thing, right? You go to the same place. For Matthew Stafford, for instance, all those years in Detroit, you sort of knew kind of what was going to, you knew everybody in the building. You had a good idea of what the coaches were doing and saying. And so I think for him, as you mentioned, coming to L.A. was kind of a shot in the arm. It was something different and new. And I think Davante Adams, one, he brings that to the locker room. But also for him, it's a chance to be somewhere new in a brand new situation, and just kind of have that feeling of like, hey, this is new and fun and different again.
I'm trying to remember. I'm looking it up in real time, and I can't off the top of my head remember. Was Davante on that Packers Super Bowl team, or was he not yet in the league?
I'm not sure that he was in the league. No, he was not. So he has not yet won a Super Bowl.
I was going to say, and that's really important too for a guy like Davante Adams, who he may not be as been there, done that as Matthew Stafford, but Davante Adams has done some things in the NFL. Like he has been one of the premier wide receivers in the league for like several years. He's had accolades, he's had incredible seasons, but he's never won a Super Bowl. Like, those are the type of things that also can help keep a guy like Matthew Stafford as completely dialed in and focused when, again, you've already done those things. You're getting up there in age. Like, I've talked about with LeBron before, as somebody, covers the Lakers and has been watching LeBron closely. LeBron is still playing at a really high level, but where you really see the age more than anything else is it doesn't look easy for him anymore.
Yeah.
Like in LeBron's prime, he could basically put up more or less the same numbers as we're seeing now, and he wasn't breaking a sweat. Now you feel the effort. You feel the sweat. You feel how hard it is. And LeBron has talked about before, it's not easy to get up for this. Like, it's not easy to keep his body in his 40s in a place where he can play all NBA level basketball, which is why I think the last few years after the Lakers have been eliminated, when LeBron has talked about having to consider retirement, I think he really is considering it because it's a big-ass commitment. I think Matthew Stafford's at a place like that. His buddy Clayton Kershaw's at a place like this. Mm-hmm. So you look for all the stuff that can keep you interested, and also, too, the players around you that can keep you interested. And I think Davante Adams is going to be one of those guys that makes it exciting for Stafford, even though, again, he's done all this many times over.
Yeah, and I think the hard part for guys that get later in their careers, I don't even think it's getting up for the games themselves, right? Because I think there's still excitement for that. It's this stuff. It's the training camp stuff. It's the going to meetings. It's the lifting weights. It is the tedium part of it that is necessary for you to have success when the season comes. That, I think when guys decide to hang it up, it is the do I want training camp again? Do I want to go out here and do these drills in the heat?
I think Aaron Donald, in so many words, basically said, I mean, he clearly is maintaining his body, all that stuff. He was here yesterday. He still looks like a god. But, like, the idea of getting up to do this again, like the entire season worth of commitment and the off-season commitment, and he is somebody that has nothing left to accomplish. Like, he could win another Super Bowl, but he's already won one. He's already considered the greatest player at his position over the last few decades, one of the best ever. There's nothing left for him to do. Like, you're correct. It gets harder to get up for this stuff. You mentioned the meetings. Like, there's that great clip of Matthew Stafford where, remember, Sean McVey is giving him just this very long cadence and play call, and after a while, Stafford's like, bro, I get it. Like, relax, all right? I know the play call. Settle down. Like, even things like that, after a while, it's like, dude, do you think I don't know what the call is?
I've been in this league for, 15, 16
Way
years.
longer than you, my man.
I know how this works at this point. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, to see how things go, especially over the next few weeks, right? We were talking before the show. The preseason starts for the Rams next week. Look, even if Matthew Stafford were not dealing with back issues and back soreness, we were not going to see him in the preseason. That's just not the way Sean McVay rolls with this team. But kind of watching this group, knowing that they were close last year. They were potentially close to a Super Bowl, and seeing the additions they made. And just kind of seeing some of these camp battles, like watch them live, on the field next week. The lights come on, and so it gets really, really interesting now.
All right, speaking of that, let's take a look when we get back at some of the big storylines for the Rams this upcoming season. I think it actually begins with Matthew Stafford. So that's coming up. We are live from Rams training camp at LMU. Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant, 710 ESPN.
And this is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky.
Hi, this is Davante Adams of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
Training Camp coverage presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming and casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at Pechanga, just off I-15 in Temecula. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations or more information.
More coverage of Rams Training Camp next on your home of Rams football.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Looking for an easy way to save energy and earn money? With Clean Power Alliance's Power Response Home program, you can do both. Simply reduce your electricity use with small actions, such as unplugging appliances or air drying laundry during times of high energy demand. You could earn $20 just for signing up. Power Response. Great for your wallet and for the planet. Get paid to power down today at cleanpoweralliance.org/home.
Don't miss a must-listen Monday and the 9-hour LA Sports Mega Block beginning at 9 a.m. with the Travis and DeMarco Show. Mason and Ireland at 12 noon. And Sedano's back, Sedano and Cap, with Beto Duran at 3 p.m. Must-listen Monday as we react to Luka's extension and preseason NFL football so close. Don't miss a moment, 7:10 a.m., the all-new ESPN LA app and on YouTube at ESPN Los Angeles. A must-listen Monday at 9 a.m. on ESPN LA.
The best words to hear at the TSA security checkpoint? You're good to go. So check before you jet. Avoid delays at TSA security checkpoints by making sure you have an acceptable form of ID. That means a real ID, passport, or other acceptable forms of identification.
Visit tsa.gov/ID to check the full list of acceptable IDs. Avoid travel delays by checking ID requirements, and you're good to go.
Marcus and Andy live from Rams training camp on your Sunday right now.
Hi, this is Matthew Stafford of your Los Angeles Rams. It's time for Rams training camp.
Once again, we head back to the practice field at LMU. And once again, Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky on ESPN LA.
We are live at LMU Rams training camp. Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant. It is the last day of training camp for your Los Angeles Rams before, well, preseason. Like, they're going to do it every year. It's going to happen. Despite what everybody seems to believe is common sense.
Okay, so
we're going to do this.
All right, so I know that I am in the minority here, right? I still believe that the preseason is necessary and valuable. I think because I think the problem is we get into the regular season, and the last few years especially, the first few weeks of the regular season, teams sort of look sloppy. They look like they're not going through the motions, but they're trying to figure it out because so many teams sit their starters in the preseason. I think the problem from the fan perspective is that the league tries to sell you preseason like it's an actual game. My argument is, if you like Broadway musicals, right, they have dress rehearsals. They don't try to sell you full-price tickets to those dress rehearsals.
No, they do not.
They don't put those dress rehearsals on television. But you know that if they didn't have them, those shows would look kind of sloppy the first couple times out.
I will say, though, if you just, I guess as sort of a side note to anybody thinking about taking in a Broadway show, you are correct that the formally designated dress rehearsals, they will not charge you full price. However, if you get a Broadway ticket and it happens to be the night of the understudy, you are, in fact, getting full price for that ticket. Like it's very similar to what goes on in any sporting event. Like if you buy a ticket and Matthew Stafford is not available or Luka Doncic isn't available, whoever, that star may be sitting. You're still paying full price.
But that feels different than something that you know is obviously a practice game, an exhibition game, and trying to sell it to me like it is the real thing. Because I think it would be great, I think, as fans to see some of these guys play, even just a little bit, just so that we get to week one, it doesn't feel like it's the first time some of these guys have seen live game action.
The key word you said there is trying to sell it. As in sell, as in charge me money, because I don't think that the prices are considerably less, if at all, in preseason versus regular season. If the NFL really cared, that's the area, teams across the league would lower the prices. They will not, because they know if
people
it comes
will pay
to
them.
Yeah, I was going to say, fans have the option of voting with their feet, and they're using their feet to get to SoFi and these other stadiums to watch it. Do you think, though, that there is any correlation? I ask this because even by preseason NFL standards, Sean McVey does not play his guys who matter at all. Mm-hmm. He really sits everybody for the overwhelming majority, if not every single snap of the preseason. The Rams the last couple seasons have gotten off to very slow starts that they've managed to dig themselves out of a hole, but that's a lot of efforting, and it's a dangerous game in the NFL when you only have so many games. Do you think there's a correlation?
I do. Again, this is me speaking anecdotally and not with any kind of real research behind it. But
that's the best kind of speaking, Marcus.
We're all vibes here. That's what we're doing on this show. I feel like the teams that sit their guys the most tend to start a little bit slower. Now, in the end, the Rams were talented enough. They had good enough coaching that they were able to overcome that. I mean, I also, on the flip side, feel like the teams that play their guys tend to at least start better. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be playoff teams or they're going to be Super Bowl contenders, but it does feel like those guys who have a chance to see live game action, again, even if it's just a quarter, a couple of drives, I think that timing makes a difference in the long run.
Do you happen to know, I mean, because you're somebody that really watches the entire league really closely. Like all of us here at the station pay attention to the NFL, but you, because of working at the NFL Network, like you watch everything really close.
Mm-hmm.
How many teams that I think most of us would consider good, like in the playoff mix, maybe in the Super Bowl mix, actually play their guys?
I mean, a handful do. I think with the Bills, you'll see Josh Allen get a series or two. I think, the Ravens will let Lamar Jackson have a series or two. I think the further down the pecking order you go, I think the more you see some of those guys play, right? Like, if you are the Saints and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do, Tyler Shuck, their rookie quarterback's probably going to play a lot because they just want to see what they've got with him, right? I think the Panthers probably going to give Bryce Young a few series because they just want to see how they go. But, Sean McVey, I think, is the kind of the extreme example, right, of not playing anybody. I do think some of these coaches, though, will let their starters just get a feel for it, right? I mean, you don't want your guys to get hurt, but you also kind of want, your guy to get hit a little bit just so he remembers how it feels that, to get hit by somebody that's not wearing the same uniform as him.
Okay. Is there any people out there that are sickos enough to do fantasy football for the preseason?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's more daily.
Is there such thing?
There's like daily fantasy.
Okay.
There's like daily
in the
fantasy.
Preseason?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, as somebody who works in that industry, and I think I did it one time, and I was like, never again. I'm not doing this. But yeah, there are people who play daily fantasy in the preseason.
Okay.
They are sickos. They a lot of themselves fashion themselves as draft nicks, so they're trying to find those those guys drafted in the late round who might get extra time. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. If you're doing daily fantasy in the preseason, I will judge you. But there is at least some utility. Like, I will acknowledge for what you're talking about, if you really want to be like a draft nick, really own your actual league.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm judging you a bit. I might think you might be a bit of a degenerate, but
you probably need to call a phone number. Yeah,
you're right. But for daily fantasy, okay. If you are in an actual draft, though, for the preseason, like you're playing in an actual league for the preseason, you need help.
So
you need a life. You need help.
I can't speak for certain. I would suspect that those sorts of things probably do exist. Again, I know enough people in this fantasy industry and know the kind of types of people who do this sort of thing that I'm certain that it exists out there, but it's not spoken about in public circles.
No, it should be treated like a fight club. Like, it's one of those things that remains underground, and we don't talk about it. We don't acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. The people that are involved, they might give themselves the secret nod
right,
when they see another one of their fellow degenerates, but they never speak of this in person.
Yeah. First rule of preseason fantasy leagues: you don't talk about preseason fantasy leagues.
I mean, look, I love fantasy football. I've been in the same league with some friends of mine going back to like the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I truly love it. I get into it. I am unabashed, unembarrassed, all of it. I would never, ever admit to anybody if I was in a preseason fantasy football league.
I mean, yeah.
Strictly about the preseason.
There are guys out there, and when I say guys, I mean like players who, like, for the degenerates that do this sort of thing, kind of have a reputation as like preseason fantasy heroes, right? They're guys, they're guys who are kind of fringe NFL players, right? They might just barely make the roster. Maybe they're a special teamer, but it's these guys that always seem to show up in the preseason. They catch a touchdown or two. They're on the field a lot. Us sickos, I don't play, but I know some of the names of these guys.
When you said us sickos, I thought you were about to
No,
come out.
I am not.
You're about to come out of the preseason fantasy football
admitting
closet.
to anything. No, I don't play it. But again, I see the conversations. I see the tweets and that sort of thing. So some guys do have that. De'Ami Brown, for instance, wide receiver, was drafted by Washington. I know him. I think he's in Carolina now, maybe Jacksonville. But, like, he has a reputation as being a preseason fantasy darling.
I did not know such a thing existed. That is absolutely insane to me. Okay, on the Rams, like, is there anybody that you've heard from these circles that you've traveled that could be a great preseason fantasy bet?
Right now, so I'll say once upon a time, Tutu Atwell was kind of that guy. Now he's worked his way up, and so that now he's a real contributor for the Rams, and so we don't see him quite as much during the preseason. I would say a guy that is getting a lot of buzz, Konate Mumpfield, the rookie from Pitt that they drafted, who I had a chance to talk to, really fun guy, really exciting. He's a guy that a lot of folks think, all right, maybe he could make a splash, that maybe we'll see him in the preseason. He might be worth taking a swing at.
Could somebody like Jarquez Hunter on the Rams, could he be like, if you're one of these preseason fantasy football sickos, he might be worth a first-round pick?
Absolutely. If that's what you want to do, Jarquez Hunter's going to get some looks because, look, we know Kyron Williams probably not going to play much, if at all, in the preseason. And it's going to be a big battle between Blake Corum and Jarquez Hunter to see who gets that job. So I would definitely believe that a lot of folks have some faith in Jarquez to make a move this preseason.
I was honestly half kidding when I brought up this idea because it seems so preposterous. But then I think about how popular fantasy football is, how popular gambling is, and how a few friends of mine will bet on damn near anything. So that makes sense.
I can tell you
members that do that too.
Ben's over here signaling at himself like
I can tell you a lot of permutations of fantasy football that will probably blow your mind.
At some point over this show, I want to hear about these things.
Okay.
I've had family members bet on a Little League World Series.
Yeah, that feels like you need to call the 800 number.
Yeah.
Well, that just feels wrong.
Yeah.
These are kids.
You got to call the 800 number.
Yeah.
Then.
Little League World Series is, I think, more legitimate as a thing to bet on than preseason NFL, but it just feels dirtier.
It feels
and more
so
wrong.
I've asked a family member asked me who's going to win WrestleMania.
I don't
bet
know.
WrestleMania.
I don't know the writers.
Script? I was like, do you have the script for that?
No, but like think about this. If you're betting on the Little League World Series, you are going to be screaming at your TV at children.
At 12-year-olds.
Yes.
At 12-year-olds.
Nothing $10 can fix.
That just feels wrong. Like for any
levels.
Any of the casinos, any of the online sites, take that down. Just take that down. That's not right, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that feels so wrong on so many different levels.
All right, coming up, we are going to be joined by the voice of your Los Angeles Rams. JB Long is going to be joining us. Always great insights about your Los Angeles Rams. So that's coming up next. Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant, 710 ESPN.
And this is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky.
Hi, this is Devontae Adams of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
Training camp coverage presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming and casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at Pechanga, just off I-15 in Temecula. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations or more information.
More coverage of Rams Training Camp next on your home of Rams football.
That's the ease at which you get information. You want it, you get it. Like that. Ask your phone. Group chat. Smartphone. You're always connected and informed in real time. No waiting. So if you're diabetic and still using finger sticks to read your blood sugar, what are you waiting for? Knowing your blood sugar levels instantly is important for managing diabetes. Call US Med at 888-665-0696. To learn more about continuous glucose monitors, a real-time instant method to track your blood glucose, US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 1,000 private insurers. And the best part? Call 888-665-0696 and we'll give you a free insurance benefits check today. So call 888-665-0696 today. That's 888-665-0696. And manage your diabetes as easy as...
Waba Grill is an LA original, so we've got to keep it real. Real fresh with our Asian-inspired menu that's grilled to order every time.
Pick me up and never put me down.
Real quality with our marinated proteins like hormone-free chicken, ribeye steak, wild-caught salmon, and shrimp. Enjoy $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. with our 5-piece pork veggie dumplings and a value-sized premium beverage drink like our tangy passion fruit lemonade. Waba Grill, keeping it real every day for you.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
When the wolf?
Oh, a wolf. Ooh!
What about the tiny dog? Cat? Owl? Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale?
Whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky on ESPN LA. Your home for Rams football.
Hello, this is Puka Nacua of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
We head back to the practice field at LMU and back to the Rams Training Camp Special on ESPN LA.
Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant, live at LMU from Rams training camp. It is the last day of the Rams training camp before they gear up for the preseason and then the actual games. And there's nobody better to break down all the questions and all the storylines lying ahead for your Los Angeles Rams than the voice of the Rams, JB Long. How are you, man?
Well, that's debatable because right as you gave that very nice, generous introduction, DeMarco Farr and his lovely daughter just made their first appearance of the day at training camp, so I would argue that he would be a much better option, but nonetheless, you've already started this segment. No turning back now. Thank you for being here on a Sunday, the final open to the public.
DeMarco is great for breaking down the Rams. You are easier to keep on the rails, though,
okay,
as far as the
I'll
conversation we're going to have
I'll
about
take
the
that.
Rams.
Yep.
And he's on daddy-daughter duty.
As someone who spends a good portion of his professional life trying to keep DeMarco on the rails, that checks out. That
it's fun, man. It's a fun adventure, but it's an adventure nonetheless.
That's right. He keeps you on your toes.
Yes, yes, he does. So it's the last day of camp. You've been here since the beginning. What are some of the things that have jumped out at you as you've been watching everything?
You know, it's pretty generic, but I think it's true this year. Competitive depth jumps off the page at me. And it's some recency bias to be certain, but I can't recall a Rams roster that had this much competitive depth. So much so that I think it's going to be hard for the rookie draft class to find work. And I mean that in a very positive way. I think it's going to be tough for them to carve out roles if this roster can stay healthy between now and Houston when they kick off the season. So that's one thing. I think they're, very fortunate to have someone who's, won an NFC championship game as their backup quarterback, because despite missing Matthew Stafford for the entirety of these 2 weeks here at LMU, they've been able to get the work and the evaluations done, and I think Jimmy Garoppolo deserves a lot of credit for that. So I'll stop there and let you follow up, but those are two things that are top of mind for me in terms of takeaways from this stint in Westchester.
Well, you talked about what I think is the big story, and that's Matthew Stafford and the back soreness. Obviously, from the outside looking in, to read the stories, I think there's a sense of anxiety amongst the fan base. Inside the building, what's the level of concern?
Very low to all accounts so far, but the calendar turns, and every day that you get closer to a game that matters, I think it becomes a more realistic concern. I'm also in a bad back situation myself right now. I doubled up on Pilates with my wife and F45 last week, which was inadvisable for a non-athlete of my vintage, and I am paying a heavy price this weekend. And so if you had asked me this question on Wednesday, I would have said, it's just, Matthew's, he's old and he likes his golf and he's got some daughters and, he's probably just a little sore in the back. And today I'm saying, man, back injuries are the worst. They're debilitating. They linger, and you don't know when they're going to get right. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of enthusiasm about this 25 Rams group. I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic, and unfortunately some of that right now is being tamped down by the fact that their QB1 has not thrown a football here at camp.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, we know Matthew Stafford himself likely doesn't need the reps in the same way that a less experienced quarterback. I mean, we were talking before you came on, JB. He has been there, done that as anybody in the league right now. But some of the guys actually need him.
Yep.
Like, in particular, Devontae Adams. He's never worked with Matthew Stafford before. Like, whatever Matthew Stafford needs or doesn't need, there's a lot of need for the other guys working with him. So I guess that's where a lot of the concerns lie, even if you're not worried about Stafford himself.
I think that's all fair. I think that's well said. Matthew is in some ways like the Deadpool of NFL quarterbacks. Like if there was a game tonight, he would be ready, even though he's not dressed today for practice. I believe that in my heart of hearts. But yeah, unless you're willing to say these practices don't matter or that Tuesday's joint session in Oxnard against the Cowboys doesn't matter, and we know for Sean McVey and the Rams it does. Like those are the preseason games. Tuesday against the Cowboys, the following week, head-to-head against the Chargers. Those are the tune-ups for the ones, in addition to the work that they do behind the scenes in anticipation of Week 1. So I don't want to minimize Matthew's absence, but at the same time, there's enough water under the bridge with him to know that if today mattered, he would find a way.
Let's talk about some of the guys who are here, and you mentioned the rookie class and the fact that they may have a tough time getting on the field. I'm especially sort of curious about the running back situation, right? Kyren Williams, he is the RB1 here, but it looks like a really interesting battle between Blake Corum and Jarquez Hunter for that second spot. How have you viewed that so far?
I like that question a lot, Marcus, and I want to answer it in good faith, but I've seen enough Sean McVay offenses to know that this is not a running back by committee ecosystem, much as they promised that it would be in future years or at times. They find someone that they trust, and they ride that horse. And thankfully for Kyren Williams and the Rams, it's worked out really well the last couple of years. And if you're telling me that the lion's share of snaps that he takes is going to come down this year, I hope that's for all the right reasons. And what I mean by that is I do think Blake Corum showed some burst at times, showed some vision at times, and unfortunately some of his best runs as a rookie were called back due to penalties that, were out of his control. And then when he did get his taste in Week 18 against the Seahawks, he broke, a bone and was out for the postseason. So that's probably one of the areas that circles back to my first answer about competitive depth. Kyren needs to improve. As good as he's been, and he's been a Pro Bowl level back, he needs to improve. He knows it. The Rams know it. The fan base knows it. He needs to be more explosive. He needs to be more patient. He especially needs to be more ball secure. And having Blake Corum breathe down his neck in a very positive, healthy, competitive way, and having another drafted rookie in that room, that sends the message loud and clear, and I think that's going to, hopefully, that tide is going to lift all boats.
We're talking with J.B. Long, the voice of your Los Angeles Rams. Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant, live from Rams training camp at LMU. Another rookie that I'm interested in, and he's someone that I think has at least been projected to get some time, is Terrence Ferguson. I know he's dealing right now with a groin injury, but before that happened, how did he look in what you've seen, and what do you think the expectations are for him?
Another interesting case study because the tight end has become a little bit of a white whale for this organization, right? Tyler Higbee's absence last year really bogged down this offense, and you felt the injection of life when he returned late in the season and in the postseason. I think Colby Parkinson had a tough year one as a Ram, in part because probably more was asked of him than either he was ready for or didn't play to his strengths. I like him better in a complementary tight end 2 role. So that's the top of the veteran depth chart. Then you have Davis Allen, and a lot of his fans in the building, the folks that contributed to drafting him, are now in Jacksonville. So I think he's done well this camp to fight off someone like Terrence Ferguson and keep his spot in the depth chart. And where I'm landing this plane is it's really difficult to play tight end in the National Football League, especially when you come from a system like Oregon's, especially when you're playing for a head coach like Sean McVey. So there's already tons of work to be done between now and September for Ferguson to make an early impact on this roster. His groin injury currently probably sets that process back. However, I've seen enough, and I think the coaches have seen enough to feel good about the selection they've made. If his presence isn't felt on the front half of the schedule, the first month or the first week of the season, hopefully that's, again, for all the right reasons, because they're getting production from other corners. And make no mistake about it, this was the least productive tight end room in the league last season. For the Rams to improve on last year's result, that has to change.
One of the things that was sort of anticipated, I mean, there was, I think, some excitement about the potential of Jalen Ramsey coming back and rejoining this team. Obviously, that didn't happen. The Dolphins and the Steelers end up making the deal. Are they confident that the secondary is enough as currently constructed without being able to bring in a Jalen Ramsey?
I'd say it's too early to know. I think there's a lot of options. There's a lot of levers that they can pull. Whether or not they're going to be able to mix and match and find the right combination, and whether the individuals are going to elevate to a competitive level remains to be seen. That's probably high, if not the highest question mark on my list going into this season, especially the division they play in, the offenses they're going to go against this year. But I'm encouraged by what I've seen so far. I think they have optionality there. I think someone like Emmanuel Forbes, who they claimed late last season as a bit of a dart throw, a former first-round pick, almost served as the excuse they needed not to invest in that position this offseason, because I think he has some upside. And then, oh, by the way, even if it's not Jalen Ramsey, I'm not naive to the fact that the Rams are carrying 9 picks, including 2 first-rounders in 26 into this season. And if they get some good early results, we know that this is not an organization that's going to hesitate to spend future capital for now results. And I think that's all dry powder for them, whether it's at corner or another position that they need to really step on the gas in the second half.
Speaking of areas in the defense that had some question marks last year, we're talking with JB Long, voice of the Rams. Linebacker has been a bit of a question mark for the team. Nate Landeman seems like he's made a pretty strong
savvy
impression.
signing. Yeah. He's got some history with some of the coaches on this staff. When he did get a chance in Atlanta, the results were really good. I was kind of surprised, actually, that someone, I'm not going to say he has a track record, but someone with his early NFL results at that position where everyone is looking for a cheap starter or a cheap backup at off-ball linebacker, that the Rams were able to attract him and get that dialed up. Now he's going to wear the green dot and start, it looks like.
Just about to say, he's got the green dot pretty quickly.
For an organization that tends to shy away from investing in that position, if they found a league-caliber starting off-ball linebacker to pair with Omar Spates, who really, I thought, came on in the second half of last year, then the Rams' linebacking corps could be one of the most improved groups. They also have a lot of things working in their favor, namely the defensive front. That's going to be keeping them clean. And Poona Ford, I think, whether it was you or me or Marcus playing linebacker, if you're doing so behind Poona Ford, you got a better chance to succeed.
Yeah, no, we had a chance to talk to Braden Fisk yesterday, and we asked him about playing alongside Poona Ford. What was it he said? He said it's like art.
Yeah, he said some of his moves are like art in those trenches, like the way he operates.
It's a human refrigerator painting the canvas, though. That's the paradox of it all. Yeah, it's unbelievable to watch.
I mean, talk about that front, though, because, you know, Aaron Donald was here yesterday, got a huge ovation from the crowd, no surprise there. Not that anybody ever forgot about him, but it did feel like the way Jared Verse and Braden Fisk and those guys hit the ground running made it a lot easier to swallow the retirement of Aaron Donald.
If you had told me that in the first year AD after Aaron Donald, the Rams would get better as a collective pass rush, I would have said, you're foolish, you're wrong, it's not going to happen. And I think that was an honest assessment of what they were up against, losing the greatest player in franchise history. But that was the truth. They got better as a collective pass rush. It wasn't because of Aaron's absence. Certainly he would have been additive had he not retired. But I think they became a more dynamic, a more diverse, a more complete pass rush because those rookies delivered in such a way that they finished 1-3 in the Defensive Rookie of the Year votes. So there's an analog here, I think, to the receiver position, which is in the first year after Cooper Kupp. Can the Rams get better as a passing game? I think Devontae Adams gives them every reason to believe that they can. And it's no slight on who was here before and who's not here this season. It's just the challenge that's ahead of this group to build on their results even without some pillar pieces that have been so instrumental to their championship success.
And Kobe Turner is a part of that force. He's just disgustingly talented at like so many different things. Like everybody knows about the singing, but I remember talking with him during the Rams reveal. Like I think he would actually like to at some point after his career do Broadway, like perform out there. Like he's worked with, I think, like musical theater, and he can do that. And he's super smart, and he's a great speaker. Like guys like that, it's really gauche, JB. Like leave a little bit for the rest of us.
It's not fair. And part of me does feel guilty indulging in the football components of his life. Like I feel like we're stealing him away from other corners of society. Where he should. I feel the same way about McVey. There was a funny social video about, asking the players if they came out to practice, if Sean wasn't a football coach, what kind of career would he have? And there were a few funny ones, some cheeky ones, like Stafford said he would love to see him, serve a McFlurry at McDonald's and those sorts of things.
I would love to see him call, like on the headset, calling out the McDonald's order. Like he would make it super complicated with a lot of audibles and stuff.
I do know this: if you were sitting there looking at the menu, he would not have the patience to like guide you through it or answer questions. He'd be like, "All right, you're getting a Happy Meal and a McFlurry. You're out of here. You're clogging up the line." But just to finish that thought, and I think you guys all know where I was going. There are some super hyper intelligent and charismatic people that I think make this team very easy and enjoyable to follow and to root for. And Sean is clearly one, and Kobe is definitely another.
I mean, that was why when there had been those a little bit of a storyline about McVey potentially walking away from the Rams, joining the booth, I want to say at Amazon, it felt believable because he'd be really good at it. Like if he wanted to do that, I know Rams fans are really happy that he decided not to, but he'd be really good.
No question. And that's why he continues to make cameos and, shows up at Super Bowls and knocks it out of the park. I love the place that he's in. I mean, it's impossible to believe that this is year 9 and he's still not even 40. And those things I still check on paper to make sure they're true before they cross my lips. But at least for one more year, they are. And I do think he's got a brilliant broadcasting career ahead of him. Selfishly, I hope that's many decades into the future. I'll say this too. I think there was a very real window of time where it made sense for his Rams future to be tethered to the window of opportunity that was Aaron Donald, was Cooper Kupp. Well, he's already outlasted, and I use that word very loosely, and please excuse me using it that way. I think there's a world where he is a Ram beyond Matthew Stafford's, timeline too, because the players have a shorter prime, and I think Sean's in a great place as a person, as a husband, as a father, and as a coach. You look at who he's surrounded himself with. He is way more at ease because of the Mike LaFleurs, because of the Chris Schulers, because of the Aubrey Pleasants, the staff that he has around him, and the blessing of finally some continuity at the coordinator level. I think that puts him in a really good place.
He's also pretty swole now. He looks like he's gotten a little jacked this offseason.
I mean, maybe he's not grinding the tape so much as he is just working the weight room. Those things could be correlated. I'm not sure anyone's pointed that out, but you're on it, Marcus.
I don't know. Maybe he's doing like the rowing machine in front of the film or something like that. He's making everything efficient. He's getting his workout while he's taking care of the film. He's a multitasker.
I mean, we've seen him evolve as a coach and stick around long enough to have reached the old man strength portion of Sean McVay's weightlifting career.
Now,
he went from being so young as to be a peer of his players and really keep up with them. I think, remember that time he was putting them to shame with like the push-up contest? I can't forget what it was. It was like 100 push-ups in 3 minutes, whatever it was. The internet will tell us. But he was like the only guy in the facility who could do that, and now he's fighting off the dad bod and father time with the rest of us.
I mean, that's like Pete Carroll with the Raiders. I mean,
oh my gosh,
he doesn't look jacked, but he's still trim. He looks really good. He's in his 70s.
Did you see that half-field jog he did the other day? I'm like, I don't know what the time was on that, but that's better than I could do right now. I guarantee you. And I'm working hard. Like I said, I'm working too hard, and I'm hurting myself trying to become someone who could keep up with Pete Carroll.
So we're being told it's 100 push-ups in 4 minutes.
104, which doesn't – it's like the eating bread challenge or whatever. That sounds like,
right.
You get looped into that saying, oh, I could definitely do that. Next thing you know, you're sick and embarrassed.
Like, what am I doing?
Right.
What am I doing?
It was a gallon of milk when we were in high school. I forget how much time you had to finish it. But
did you ever complete it?
No. But I was baited into a bad decision and humbled.
One time I was coming back. I want to say I was back in St. Louis where I grew up from college break or whatever, and I was with some friends, and me and another friend of mine did one of those challenges where you eat you try to eat an entire pizza that's like the size of a large tabletop in an hour, and if you do the thing, you win like $150. If you don't, you have to buy the pizza, which is also about $150.
That feels like a shockingly low amount of money.
High risk, high reward.
Yeah.
Oh, it was truly not worth it, and we did not complete it. We fell well short.
I'm disappointed to hear that because I do feel like pizza would be the genre in which I could go toe-to-toe with a Joey Chestnut.
Well, here's the problem, because I feel like I could too. The problem is they don't give you a choice of the crust. They go super thick.
Oh, that's not fair.
Oh, see, the deck is stacked against you from the beginning. Then.
Yes, and we actually, as we were walking in, I'm not joking, we saw these two guys getting let out in cuffs because they claimed to have won this thing, and it turned out that they stuffed a bunch of pizza inside like the cushions of the booth where they were sitting.
That's
and
gnarly.
they got discovered, and they didn't have the money for the pizza, so they were being taken out in cuffs for what is really like small petty theft. I mean, the pizza isn't worth that much, but nonetheless, it was pretty pathetic.
You've been in Lou Malnati's, like Chicago deep dish? Have you had?
I don't like deep dish.
Okay. Which is fine. That's neither here nor there. I'm just going to confess to you that you know how Arizona is like the Chicago of the Southland.
Yes,
so they have all the Chicago things, the Portillos, the Lou's, and on and on. One day I was doing some work in Arizona, and I was like, you know what? I have time before my flight, before Sky Harbor. I'm going to fast all day so that I could hit Lou Malnati's, which I love, on my way out. And I was eating at the bar, and the bartender turned around after I was finished, and he looked down at the medium deep dish that I had finished. He said, I've been working here however long. I've never seen anybody do that. And I said, thank you, and I'm sorry, and I'm out of here. I've never been so embarrassed and proud in the same.
Did you leave an extra tip just to kind of cover for that?
Yeah, I don't remember, but I should have.
Well, you were probably hallucinating by the time.
You know what I should have done? I should have tipped him extra, being like, "This stays between us."
Yeah, this is just keep this here. You know,
30%. It doesn't leave this bar.
Right.
I mean, seriously, like when I overate for that pizza challenge, I'm not joking. Like I came home, I felt awful. I was laying in bed, like even at one point trying to get sick. I was hallucinating. Like if you really try to overeat like that intentionally, it is sensory overload in ways that can be really, really disturbing.
It flies in the face of my theory, which is probably easy to disprove, and yet I cling to it, which is after a certain number of calories per day, everything else just gets purged, like it doesn't count against you. So, you want to keep it to 2,000 or below, and at my age, you probably want to keep it more. But, if you go 4,000 in a day, that incremental 500 or 1,000 doesn't hurt you as much as 1,500 to 2,000.
How many calories do you think were in that deep dish?
Let's not look that up either.
All right, he is JB Long. He is the voice of the Rams. You will be hearing him all season long as the guys get back on the field starting in September. As always, brother, appreciate the time.
Nice to catch up with you both. And pizza, Sunday night.
Pizza.
Let's do it for dinner.
There we go.
We should do that.
There it is.
Getting hungry. All right. Coming up, we're going to break down more of what has been happening with Rams training camp, maybe get into some of the fantasy leaders that you should be drafting from this team, from your Los Angeles Rams. Marcus Grant is an expert, so we'll ask him about that. Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant, 710 ESPN.
And this is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky.
Hi, this is Devontae Adams of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
Training camp coverage presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming and casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at Pechanga, just off I-15 in Temecula. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations or more information.
More coverage of Rams training camp next on your home of Rams football.
The Shoresy Fall Classic returns. Join the cast of the hit TV show Shoresy as they take on NHL alumni from the Los Angeles Kings. December 14th, 3 p.m., Crypto.com Arena. On sale now at AXS.com.
Dealing with slow drains, dips in water pressure? Trust the experts at NextGen, the official AC heating, plumbing, and electrical company of SoCal sports fans. Their expert technicians fix even the toughest of jobs. Get your stubborn drains working again with expert drain clearing for just $88. Plus, enjoy peace of mind with their 30-day guarantee. Call NextGen now at 833-3NEXTGen or visit nextgenaironplumbing.com to book online. CSLB number 1011173. 30-day guarantee and $88 drain clearing requires accessible clean out and camera inspection.
Aloha! Dreaming of sandy beaches and ocean breezes? JTV's Tropical Treasure Sweepstakes could make that dream come true. Enter for your chance to win a fabulous Hawaiian getaway for two with luxury accommodations, airfare, and spending cash. Plus, just for entering, get $30 off your next qualifying JTV purchase of at least $99 when you opt in for emails. Don't miss out. Visit jtv.com/sweeps and enter by August 3rd. JTV, where paradise awaits.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
Don't miss a must-listen Monday and the 9-hour LA Sports Mega Block beginning at 9 a.m. with the Travis and DeMarco Show. Mason and Ireland at 12 noon. And Sedano's back, Sedano and Cap, with Beto Duran at 3 p.m. Must-listen Monday as we react to Luka's extension and preseason NFL football so close. Don't miss a moment, 7:10 a.m., the all-new ESPN LA app and on YouTube at ESPN Los Angeles. A must-listen Monday at 9 a.m. on ESPN LA.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs. But it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
You are never too old for a family. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is dedicated to finding forever families for children who have been waiting in foster care the longest. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-294-0222. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-294-0222. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-294-0222. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Congratulations to Mason and Ireland, re-signing with ESPN LA for years to come.
After a grueling negotiation, you and I will continue here at 710 ESPN.
The Hall of Famer staying on LA's mega sports station with a new multi-year agreement.
The biggest show on the radio.
Weekdays noon to 3 p.m. The only home for Mason and Ireland. 710 ESPN.
The all-new ESPN LA app.
And always on YouTube at ESPN Los Angeles.
To help those who want to be helped, but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
Mason and Ireland on 710.
The biggest show on the radio.
First of all, the buses did not have the money that Mark Walter has. Yeah. Mark Walter is jumping about 10 levels.
He's worth $6 billion.
Yeah, the buses' money was all tied up within the Lakers. This influx of capital, we're not talking about players. Players do operate under a salary cap.
Yep.
We're talking about everything else. The rest of the league is reacting to this news.
They should be terrified.
They are.
Yeah.
Because now they realize the Lakers are a have when they've been a have-not.
Yep.
It's money to upgrade your facilities and your broadcast deals and your scouting department. instead of having Rob run the whole department, the whole front office by himself, I would imagine eventually we're going to have like the Council of Elders.
Smartest guys in the room.
That the Dodgers have.
Mason and Ireland, back Monday at noon.
On 710 ESPN. 710 ESPN, your home for the 17-time world champion Lakers.
KSPN Los Angeles, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
And it is a Sunday special live from Rams training camp. On your home of Rams football, 710 ESPN, the all-new ESPN LA app, and on YouTube at ESPN Los Angeles. This is a Rams training camp special with Marcus Grant from NFL Network and Andy Kamenetzky.
Training camp coverage on ESPN LA presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming and casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at Pechanga, just off I-15 in Temecula. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations or more information.
Bringing you all the sights and sounds of Rams training camp. Marcus and Andy live from Rams training camp on your Sunday right now. Now let's head to the practice field at LMU. Time for Marcus and Andy and the Rams training camp special right now.
It is AK and Marcus Palooza for the third straight day. We are live from Rams training camp. The guys are all out on the field going through various drills. We'll keep everybody updated with that. We just heard from JB Long a second ago. We are hoping to talk with a player over the next couple hours. And we're going to continue, obviously, talking Rams, Marcus. But this weekend, the single biggest story in LA sports, maybe in sports, period, was Luka Doncic and the Lakers agreeing to an extension. He inked it yesterday at the facility after, I believe, a 7 a.m. workout. 3 years, $165 million reportedly with a player option for the third year. If he opted out, it would largely be because he wants to get back into free agency at the 10-year service mark, where he could be eligible for a contract that is estimated to be around $400 to $420 million.
That's it?
Over 5 seasons.
Okay.
I know.
You know.
Everyone pray for Luka that'll manage to make these finances work. But obviously massive news for the Lakers, for LA. And the Lakers celebrated this huge milestone in franchise history, as one does with the Backstreet Boys.
Of course. Look, I saw the videos, the TikToks, the social media videos of him.
I believe they're a Cosm, or not a Cosm.
Sphere.
Sphere
in Las Vegas. Yeah. Like Backstreet Boys standing on tables so they can be eye to eye with Luka and that sort of thing. He has proclaimed, right, that is his favorite boy band of all time, is the Backstreet Boys. So,
I wouldn't think it was an NSYNC guy.
Definitely not a 98 Degrees guy.
O-Town,
nothing like that.
He's a little young to remember Menudo.
Right.
Yeah. Some would say the original boy band.
Yeah, he probably missed New Kids on the Block,
New
that
Edition,
sort of thing.
yeah, all those guys.
So,
New Edition.
Yeah, so Backstreet feels like it'd be right in his wheelhouse. I get that.
Yeah, he was having a good time. I saw like Rui Hachimura was there. I believe Jared Vanderbilt was there. Adu Tierra, who, by the way, nice timing for Adu Tierra.
Right?
He's barely been on this team, and he's getting whisked off as part of the team to Vegas to take in the Backstreet Boys. I'm trying to remember who else was there. Rob Pelinka. If you need to find these videos, because if you've never seen Rob Pelinka attempt to rock out, it is a sight. It is an absolute sight, Rob Pelinka doing that.
Also, Maxi Kleba and Jackson Hayes look like.
Wow, all right. There it is. Yeah, I see them all dressed in white. Is this
Yeah, everyone's dressed in the same color. What's going on with that?
Well, it feels very much like they're, recreating like the Millennium album or something like that. Like that feels like that's what's happening right there. All right, yeah. They look like a happy bunch.
As long as they're not going to a Donald Sterling White party.
Rob Pelinka still not beating the Rob Lowe allegations. Like, that's just never going to happen. So.
Oh, no. I'll tell you right now that what just happened yesterday, there's a lot of pressure on Rob. Like, there's always going to be pressure in that job. And once you have Luka in the fold, the pressure magnifies that much more. But at the same time, his job gets easier even with that extra stress and the extra pressure because you have Luka there. And once you have Luka, you've got a roadmap. Like, you know exactly how you want to try to build this team over the next 3, 5, 10 years.
So, I mean, it was already trending that direction from the moment they traded for Luka Doncic. But this signing feels like it officially cements the passing of the torch from LeBron James to Doncic. That they're going to play out the remainder of this LeBron contract. They have the exit date, the end point basically already locked up, and that this was the last big step to solidify that this franchise now centers around Luka.
Well, I think it definitely centers around Luka, and that's been very obvious since the moment he was here. He's just turned 26. He is just now entering his prime. LeBron is going to turn 41. Even with him still playing at a high level, there is only so much longer you can game out your time with LeBron and what to do with LeBron. Luka has an entire career ahead of him, so obviously he's the centerpiece. He's the focal point. He's priority number one. As far as the idea of this being LeBron's last season with the Lakers, I think there's a real possibility. I don't necessarily think, though, that it's a given. Because even if LeBron is not happy with all things and the Lakers right now, and I suspect he's not, if nothing else, LeBron and Rich Paul and Clutch, I think, have been going out of their way to at least create the appearance of some type of dissatisfaction. But the reality is, I don't know how many better options LeBron's going to have when you take into account all of the things that he wants, which is a competitive team, the ability to make the most money possible, and proximity to family. When you weigh all the things that presumably, the things that LeBron says that he wants, but also you would assume, I don't know how many places can check as many of those boxes or even check them 3/4 of the way more than the Lakers.
Well, and that was, I know when there was the talk that the Lakers could trade him or that he might want to force a trade, that was always the sticking point, that there was nowhere that could accommodate everything that LeBron would want and still be a playoff level, a championship contender level team. And I think that point still stands if LeBron were to hit free agency, right? Who could bring him in under the salary demands that he would have and still be able to build and put enough stuff around him that he could feel confident that they could actually make a run at something.
And the truth is, LeBron clearly does not want to leave L.A. because he's had many opportunities in the past when, frankly, the team was worse than it is now, and he's stuck around. He opted into this contract, I'm guessing, at least in part, because he did not have a better situation lined up. He didn't have a better option lined up. So he opted in. You know, the idea that the Lakers would buy him out for #reasons makes absolutely no sense. They would be cutting off their own season at the knees. It would be ridiculous. And like you said, Marcus, trading him is much easier said than done. It's extremely complicated. Also want to let people know, because this has been speculated a lot, LeBron being very, other than sort of the passive-aggressive social media posts that seem about the Lakers, him being very quiet on other things involving the team, including Luka Doncic signing the extension. People ask, I know this because people have hit us up on Twitter at Cam Brothers or in the comments section for the Locked on Lakers YouTube page. Like, where's the congratulatory tweet? Mark Stein, very, very dialed-in NBA reporter, particularly with all things Mavericks, which means he's developed connections with all things Luka. LeBron report, according to Mark Stein, he reached out to Luka via FaceTime, like sort of face-to-face remotely, to congratulate Luka for this.
So our short regional nightmare is over? Like we can move on past all that?
Oh, and I mean, for everyone else that wants to read tea leaves or whatever, because, you know, where was Austin Reeves, who, by the way, I'm not even sure Austin is on social media, but where was Austin's been quiet. Austin's in Asia doing a shoe tour right now. So if he did not reach out to congratulate Luka right away or whatever, it's because he's halfway across the world right now
That's got to be tough, right? That everybody is watching what you do and what you say. That, look, if it were my friend, if a friend of mine signed a big contract, got a great new job, no one's asking, well, did you congratulate them? I can break off a text quietly and privately to say congratulations. Sometimes we just have to exhale, people. We do.
Well, I mean, people were reading into LeBron in particular, but also Austin not being there at the extension press conference. And in the case of LeBron, I don't know if he's in town or not. I know that, again, Austin Reeves is in Asia, so that's why he wasn't there. But, with LeBron, again, do I think there are some points of tension right now between LeBron and the Lakers? Yes, if for no other reason than I think LeBron has gone out of his way to message that. But I don't get any impression that whatever tension involves Luka directly, like that LeBron has issues with Luka. I've never gotten that impression.
So I know you cover this team. You follow them certainly a lot more closely. Right now, their top three players, without a doubt, are Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. You look at the rest of the Western Conference, and you wonder if those three are going to be enough on their own. Now with new ownership, Mark Walter, just based on the way he has run the Dodgers, has shown he is not averse to spending. Could we see this team make a push, maybe go over, maybe even the second apron, just to try to build something to get them to a champion?
It's got to be the right move, and it's not even about the money or anything like that. It's once you start getting in the second apron, your ability to keep building becomes severely restricted. Like, even if you are willing to spend into, like, a mythical seventh apron, like if you were cool with that, you start really becoming hamstrung in the type of trades that you can make. You can have draft picks frozen in terms of being able to trade them, stuff like that. It becomes very difficult to actually build a team in the second apron. So it's not purely about finances. It's about maneuverability and, optionality. That being said, though, if there was a team that could be built in the second apron that felt as is ready to go, like with this team, we feel like we can, A, compete for a championship, and B, we won't need to spend anymore or make any other deal because this is it. Like you said, based on the way Mark Walter runs the Dodgers, hell yeah, I think he'd be willing to do it.
I mean, they spent $1 billion, to help get the Dodgers to where they are, to help them win a World Series. So it feels like money is no object for Mark Walter, for the organization. And to your point, I guess it is about finding the pieces that they feel like can be the ones to get them over the hump.
Well, you just have to be really sure that the pieces that you put together, that will work. Because, again, once you get in that second apron, your options for making moves after that just become severely limited. Like, even the trades. For example, we were talking about LeBron, and would he want to trade? And if he did, one of the teams that comes up naturally is Cleveland. Yeah. Cleveland is a second apron team.
They are well into the second.
Like what they are, yes, they're quite second apron. And because of that, it's really difficult for them to trade for LeBron, beyond the fact that they have to find $52 million worth of salary that they could somehow send out that wouldn't deplete them to the point where LeBron doesn't want to join. They can't aggregate contracts together, meaning like you've got to find likely multiple teams to get a part of this deal because you can't just put together $52 million sending it straight to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Like, it just becomes incredibly complicated.
I mean, they've got it. I'm just looking at it right here. They would have to shed almost $20 million just to get under the second apron before they can even think about anything else.
It's just extremely complicated. Like, I do think it is something Laker fans need to understand. The Dodgers' willingness to spend like drunken sailors in baseball is different than whatever drunken sailor willingness you're going to find in the NBA because the rules are so much different. But there is no salary cap for the amount of people you can put in your front office. There is no salary cap for how much you can spend on your facilities. If, say, Laker players feel like a second plane would be nice, the way the Dodgers have that for their players. No rule against that.
You just have to spend more like a sailor in moderation when it comes to players.
Well, you know what you do? You have to spend like a drunken sailor who also has a cap guy on speed dial. Like somebody that can get a hold of Eric Pincus whenever he needs to. Right. Like somebody can just explain, like, well, okay, what am I about to get into? Money's no object, but just explain the rules to me.
Right. Yeah, and I think we're all sort of learning this new world with the multiple aprons across the NBA. I mean, I say that as somebody who watched the Warriors the last few years and watched Joe Lacob basically just write blank checks across the organization and say, salary cap and luxury tax be damned.
Light years ahead, like what they said, right?
Light years
ahead.
Yeah, that 2 timelines thing didn't really work out.
The 2 timelines thing was a complete disaster and has, I think, hamstrung the organization for a few years. But Joey Light years seemed to have it working for a while.
Oh, God. I mean, that Kuminga situation right now is such a mess.
Yeah.
He is, for those unaware, he is stuck in restricted free agency. He clearly does not want to be there anymore. And
it seems like they don't really want him there.
No, they don't. But he is – what they really want is for him to be signed at a certain salary slot, which makes him tradable for a type of impact player that they actually want. He's not landing – they're not landing on a number that he likes. And the sign-and-trade possibilities, I guess – Phoenix and Sacramento have come up. They're not offering anything that entices the Warriors. They should have traded Kuminga 2 years ago because it's been clear from the beginning they don't think he's the right player. But he's too talented, or if nothing else, they're so entrenched in him as an asset. They don't want to let him go. But the problem is they keep devaluing the asset they won't let go.
Yeah, well, I think they missed a window where – they moved on from James Wiseman because they had to move on from James Wiseman. But I think at the same time, they probably should have moved on from Jonathan Kuminga. But I think there was some glimmer of an idea that maybe they could fix him or they could make him a part of the organization or a part of the team, and it just became apparent that it was just never going to work.
It's the boyfriend that you stick around with too long because you think you can fix him.
Yep. It'll be okay. He's gonna change. It'll be all right.
I feel it this time. I really feel it this time. All right, coming up, I want to ask Marcas, NFL Network and fantasy expert, about some high-profile Rams, how good of fantasy players they could be. Plus, we'll keep everyone updated with what we see on the field. Hopefully going to talk to a member of the Rams before the show is over. Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant, 710 ESPN.
And this is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky.
Hi, this is Devontae Adams of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
Training Camp coverage presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming and casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at Pechanga, just off I-15 in Temecula. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations or more information.
More coverage of Rams Training Camp next on your home of Rams football.
Are you ready to make a difference for the environment while helping the visually impaired at the same time? Then donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind today by calling 1-800-983-6530. Every donated vehicle will either be properly recycled in an eco-friendly manner or given a new life through reuse. Donating your vehicle is easy. Simply call 1-800-983-6530 and Heritage for the Blind will do the rest. They'll even arrange for your vehicle to be picked up at no cost to you. And for a limited time, when you donate your car, you'll receive a $200 restaurant voucher and a 2-night, 3-day hotel stay at one of 50 locations. Call 1-800-983-6530 right now to schedule your vehicle donation and make a positive impact on the environment while helping others. Heritage for the Blind, where every car donation counts and every person makes a difference. Call 1-800-983-6530 now. This advertisement is paid for by Heritage for the Blind.
If your AC breaks down, call NextGen, the official AC plumbing and electrical company of SoCal sports fans. For a limited time, receive a free no-ozone air purifier with any new system installation. Call 833-3-NEXTGEN or visit nextgenairandplumbing.com. CSLB number 1011173.
Looking for an easy way to save energy and earn money? With Clean Power Alliance's Power Response Home program, you can do both. Simply reduce your electricity use with small actions, such as unplugging appliances or air drying laundry during times of high energy demand. You could earn $20 just for signing up. Power Response. Great for your wallet and for the planet. Get paid to power down today at cleanpoweralliance.org/home.
Yo, I'm your old basketball. Haven't seen you out on the courts in a while. Why not pass me over to Goodwill? Donating me helps Goodwill's mission to provide career training and support services right here in the community. And that's a slam dunk. Donate today. Hey, I got next.
To find your nearest Goodwill locations and to learn more about our mission, please visit goodwill.org. Goodwill, where your things start new lives.
Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Help us fight youth homelessness. Go to covenanthouse.org.
This is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky on ESPN LA. Your home for Rams football.
Hello, this is Puka Nacua of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
We head back to the practice field at LMU and back to the Rams Training Camp Special on ESPN LA.
Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant, live from Rams Training Camp at LMU. It is the last day of training camp for the Rams before we get to the preseason and then the regular season and then all of the excitement that Rams fans cannot wait. They want to see the Rams build on the playoff run they had last year with a very, very young, inexperienced, in particular, defense, Marcus, and see if they can parlay that into the next steps, maybe get themselves to a Super Bowl. That, I found this out, and I thought this was really interesting. If the Rams made the Super Bowl, it will happen the day after Matthew Stafford turns 38.
Happy birthday to Matthew Stafford, then, I guess, in that case.
Yeah, February 7th is Stafford's 38th birthday. February 8th is the Super Bowl.
At what SoFi Stadium, I believe it is this year, correct? Look, it's not insane to think this team could make a Super Bowl run. I know we had Pepe Montilla on with us yesterday, and he said he got laughed at for suggesting the Rams could be in the Super Bowl. Obviously, the NFC is stacked. You've got the defending champion Eagles there. The Commanders look like they're getting a lot better. You look at the NFC North, where you've got to deal with the Lions and the Vikings, the Packers, even in the NFC West that we've talked about. It's going to be stacked this year. But this team is talented enough. It is deep enough. Puka Nacua just made a ridiculous catch on the sideline. Although the defensive players are saying he was out of bounds. They're waving it off. But either way, just skied.
They're moving the
chains.
They're moving the chains.
All right. So Puka with a big catch down
the sideline. That was a great catch.
But, yeah, there are going to be a lot of obstacles. But this team is talented enough. It is well coached enough that I don't see why they shouldn't be considered among the Super Bowl contenders.
Speaking of how well coached they are, we're going to get to the fantasy implications or some of the draft positions for these Rams in a second. But ESPN did an NFL coaching staff rankings, 1 through 32 of all of the staffs in the NFL, and the Rams came in at 5th.
Okay.
5th overall, the only behind the Ravens, the Niners, the Chiefs, and this one was surprising to me. The Vikings were considered the number 1 coaching staff from top to bottom.
Interesting. I guess I would have to look and see who else is on the coaching staff.
I'm going to find that for you right now.
Beyond just Kevin O'Connell, who is a McVey disciple, but
here is their staff, and I got to say, these are some pretty good names. Kevin O'Connell, obviously head coach.
Right.
Wes Phillips, your offensive coordinator, and Brian Flores, defensive.
That's pretty good. They also, I see they've got Mike Pettin as the linebacker coach / assistant head coach. He was a head coach in the NFL for a while. So, all right, I will nod to that.
And then Andy Reid and his staff at number 2 with the Chiefs.
I would have thought, by the way, they would have been number 1.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty safe bet, and you wonder if whoever did this list, maybe you don't, not to let people know how the sausage is entirely made in our industry, but sometimes if there's a tie to be broken, you go with a little bit more of a controversial, something that jumps out at you, might grab your attention, and not having Andy Reid at number 1 in favor of Kevin O'Connell could do that, but he's certainly a good coach. Kyle Shanahan and the Niners at 3, and then John Harbaugh actually could be a quality number 1. I mean, the Ravens have had very very few subpar seasons under Harbaugh.
And they've had pretty good consistency amongst their coaching staff. And I suspect for the Rams, maybe that is sort of what put them at 5, just because they've had a lot of turnover within the coaching staff. They've been able to continue to have success, but they've had a lot of coordinators kind of come in and out of here, and you just wonder whether or not that had something to do with the ranking.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because last year the Rams were at 3, and they have fallen, finger quotes, fallen to 5. But in reading the synopsis, says, quote, the Rams are very well coached in offense. McVey is a whiz kid turned whiz man. We all know this. Moving on. Defense. I really struggled with this one. On one hand, the Rams defense was not great last season. It ranked 28th in EPA per play allowed, 24th in success rate, gave up 22.4 points per possession, the worst figure for a defense that made the playoffs. LA got better as the season progressed, but it was never an above-average unit. On the other hand, the personnel available was clearly that of a below-average defense, and I like what Shula did schematically. The Rams protected an undermanned back 7 with creative zone coverages and brackets, trusting in their pass rush to win games. The pass rush was certainly powered by Defensive Rookie of the Year Jared Verse, but don't overlook Shula's impact. The Rams had one of the league's lowest blitz rates, with one of the highest rates of dropping players off the line of the line of scrimmage and into coverage. Shula used pre-snap alignment to generate one-on-ones without taxing his secondary. The right approach given his personnel. Consider me cautiously optimistic about Shula, who needs to draw even more blood from a stone of his defensive personnel if the Rams are going to make a legitimate NFC push. There are no new starters expected in the secondary this season.
That tracks with what J.B. Long was telling us earlier in the show. We asked him about the Rams not being able to trade for Jalen Ramsey, that there are very much questions about the secondary. And I think that's a thing people are keeping an eye on in training camp, to see who emerges, or just to see what Chris Shula can dial up again when it comes to that defensive backfield, knowing that you are in a division with teams that can throw the ball and throw it well. The Niners, when healthy, have a very dangerous passing attack. The Cardinals expect to be able to throw the ball.
Trey McBride shredded them in their last game against the Cardinals, destroyed them.
Yeah, and then you've got Marvin Harrison Jr. in year 2, who, by the way, speaking of guys who are allegedly in the best shape of their lives, the photos of him on social media looking absolutely swole are floating around. So the secondary is going to be tested. So it is going to be, I think, in the short term, up to the front 4 to get pressure on the quarterback, because if not, those guys on the back end are going to have their work cut out for them.
Well, with that in mind, Poona Ford edition, that's a big deal, because essentially you're doubling down on your best area, like your ability to just pressure the quarterback, keep that constant pressure all over another team's offensive line, and create disruption that way. And, you know, hopefully guys like Quentin Lake and all those dudes will take the next step forward, or someone like Nate Landeman, you know, can be the head of the snake with a linebacking core that gets better. But if nothing else, you look at the front line defensively with these Rams, and the edge, the charts, man.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously we know about Verse. We know about Fisk. It was interesting to hear them talk about Poona Ford and what he does. And DeMarco Farr came and told us yesterday that he had the opinion, he was under the belief that Poona Ford was just sort of a space-eating run stopper, and he was pleasantly surprised by the ability that Ford had when it came to rushing the passer. So that's just one more guy to put pressure on quarterbacks, which is only going to help.
And then Kobe Turner's another guy. You know, he's not just a pretty voice, Marcus.
That's right.
He is somebody that can really wreak havoc out in the field. But ultimately, like, I think they recognize those other areas of the defense. They do need to get better. But when you have a strength, sometimes the best thing you can do, if you don't have access to other players that might be able to shore up the weaknesses, you just make your strength that much better.
Yeah. I'm watching Joshua Carty here line up and kick field goals. What are we guessing? That's about 40, 50 yards he's lined up from right now.
Yeah, that could be.
I had a chance right when SoFi opened. I got to take a tour
okay,
of SoFi.
For a second, I thought he was. They're lined up. They're lined up. This is a short field. They're lined up at one end, right by what, from my angle, looked like a goalpost. It looked like it was like a 4-yard field goal. I'm like, Marcus, what are you looking at? But yeah, it was about a 40-yarder.
So I had a chance to go to SoFi. I got to take the tour of SoFi, and one of the things they let me do was set up a tee at about the 15 and kick a field goal. I will say I got it through, but it gave you a sense of how difficult it is to kick a field goal. And I did this. There was nobody running at me. There was nobody shouting at me. It was just me in an empty stadium trying to kick a 15, I guess it would be 25 yards.
Extra point, maybe?
Right. It was basically an extra point. And I'm like, this is not even remotely easy.
How many did you do in total?
I just did one. I was 1 for 1. I'm like, You know what? I made it.
Wise.
I'm walking away right now. That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
I remember one time, I don't even remember what the occasion was, but at the then Staples, they let some of media come on the court, and we were shooting. And, like, I lined up. I'm a terrible shooter to begin with, but I lined up to take some threes, and I actually made a couple, but I was like, my God, it's a long shot. Like and I was doing like top of the break threes. Wasn't trying like corner threes. I was doing like as far as I could. I'm like, yeah, I was like, this is far, man. This is a long shot.
I made a college three. I did at USC did the tuition toss, and I made the college three, which won me a free pair of Nikes, which was pretty cool. I actually had it all planned out. If I had made the half court shot, I was going to go and maybe try to kiss a song girl or something like that.
Feeling your oats?
I was just going to feel, but I never got the opportunity. But I did make the college three.
Yeah, I in that day at Staples Center, I want to say I shot about maybe 2 of 25 from behind the arc, but I did make a couple. It's very exciting. All right, coming up, we are going to get into where you should take certain Rams in your fantasy draft, if you should take them at all. Marcus Grant is a fantasy football expert. He's going to break that down coming up next, 710 ESPN.
And this is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky.
Hi, this is Devontae Adams of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
Training Camp coverage presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming and casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at Pechanga, just off I-15 in Temecula. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations or more information.
More coverage of Rams Training Camp next on your home of Rams football.
Do you have trouble getting in and out of the bathtub? Are you afraid you'll slip and fall entering or exiting a tub? Safe Step walk-in tubs can transform your bathtub from an area of concern to a calming refuge. Call them today at 1-800-731-4558 and save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs and showers are proudly made in Tennessee and offer an ultra-low step-in, avoiding that difficult climb over a traditional bathtub wall. They also offer a variety of therapeutic benefits that may help soothe your aching muscles and joints, increasing your mobility, boosting your energy, and improving your sleep. Safe Step walk-in tubs are designed to easily fit your existing tub space and are often installed in as little as one day. Just dial 1-800-731-4558 today to save $1,600 and receive a free shower package. That's 1-800-731-4558 for a free no-obligation consultation and to save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs. Safety never felt so good.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the world, but one thing's for sure. You need a PC you can rely on. Whether it's for school, gaming, or whatever your next chapter holds, Lenovo.com has the tech to help you succeed. Shop PCs right now at Lenovo.com during their back-to-school sale, where students can save more when they sign up for a Lenovo education account. Free shipping, easy returns, flexible financing. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
Every day, women like me go to the doctor for annual checkups for conditions like breast cancer. Early detection saved my life. But women with disabilities face a cruel reality: inaccessible medical facilities and equipment.
I went to a doctor's office. I was told it was accessible, but when I got there, I couldn't get through the front door.
Our veterans deserve better. Help PVA fight for access at pva.org.
Marcus and Andy live from Rams training camp on your Sunday right now.
Hi, this is Matthew Stafford of your Los Angeles Rams. It's time for Rams training camp.
Once again, we head back to the practice field at LMU. And once again, Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky on ESPN LA.
This is really exciting. In the break, I just led a Whose House Rams House.
Yeah.
Got everybody going. Let me do this again one more time. Whose house? Whose house? Whose house? I can see why Sam Lagana likes this, man. This is fun.
Oh, my God. Mason
is
would
really
be so
cool.
jealous. Mason would be so jealous.
Mason's going to be
oh
out
my
of
God.
his
He'll be
mind.
running down from his house right now.
Whose house? Mace's house. I'm doing a couple shows with Mace next week.
Okay, you have to lord this over him.
I'm going to. He might not show up. He's going to be calling out sick yet again. Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant. We are live from Rams training camp at LMU, the last day of training camp, and we want to get into some fantasy questions involving the Rams and just the rest of the NFL. Marcus Grant, you are our Matthew Berry at 710 ESPN. You are part of the NFL Network. You are, dare I say, an expert. So I and Anthony, we've got some questions for you.
Okay.
I want to begin with Matthew Stafford. Quarterbacks are always the highest profile.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming there are no back issues, anything like that, where would you take Matthew Stafford in a standard, I guess, one quarterback PPR league?
He's coming off the board right now in the double-digit round. So you're probably looking at round 10, maybe a little bit later. He tends to be that guy you take if your strategy is to wait on a quarterback, which once upon a time was kind of the standard advice, was to wait on a quarterback. It's sort of shifted now where if you want one of the really elite guys, you're probably going to have to look in the third, fourth, maybe fifth round, something like that. But if you decide that you want to just load up on other positions and wait on your quarterback, Stafford's a good option, say in round 10 or so.
How much does it matter, do you think, having one of those elite guys for the most part in your league?
It can matter a lot because it can be a significant week-to-week difference in terms of scoring. And I think especially now, the guys who are mobile and can run with the football, a guy like a Lamar Jackson, a Josh Allen, there's so many other ways for those guys to get you fantasy points, where if the passing game isn't working, Josh Allen can still run for 80, 90 yards. He can get you a rushing touchdown or two. When you talk about the pure pocket passers, those guys have to be really efficient with what they do. So it's worked out for Stafford, especially because he's had great wide receivers. Joe Burrow is probably the example of the mostly pocket passer that can still score at an elite level. But he is throwing it a ton. He's got a defense that's really bad and forces him to throw the football. So it does make a difference having those guys that can score multiple ways for you.
Marcus, real quick here. So going off of that from Andy's perspective on Stafford, how much does this hurt Puka, Nacua, and Devontae Adams if Stafford were to miss some time throughout the season?
It hurts a little bit, for sure, right? You want QB1 out there delivering the football. I think what keeps those two guys in particular in good stead is they are target magnets, regardless of who the quarterback is. A thing we love in fantasy are what we call narrowly funneled passing games, where you can look at the roster and you can point to two guys generally that are going to get the football. And for the Rams, you sort of know what that is. You know it's going to be Adams. You know it's going to be Nacua. Sure, we'll see some Tyler Higbee sprinkled in there. We'll see maybe a Jordan Whittington or a Tutu Atwell, whomever else sprinkled in there. Primarily, it's going to be those two guys. And so whether it's Stafford, that's the quarterback in week one, or whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo in week one, you can feel pretty confident that Puka and Devontae are going to get plenty of targets. The other part of it is, and we've talked about this before, you have a backup quarterback who's played in a Super Bowl, who has been a starting quarterback in good offenses. So you can have at least a level of confidence that Garoppolo can keep the values of your guys afloat. But that being said, you feel a whole lot better if it's number 9 back there throwing the football.
Yeah, and you can see that why in these mock drafts, Nacua can go as high as pick 5.
Yeah.
Where does he stand on your wide receiver rankings in PPR?
In PPR, he is, for me, I would say Jamar Chase is number 1. I got Justin Jefferson at number 2. I would probably put Puka like wide receiver 5, right? So I'd go Chase, I'd go Jefferson, I'd go CeeDee Lamb, and then probably Amon-Ra St. Brown.
He is so good.
That's where I would go. Those are the 4 guys that I think I would take ahead of Puka. I think on a lot of drafts I've done, generally speaking, he sort of lands kind of mid to late first round, so you're looking to probably pick 7 to 10, somewhere around there in a lot of leagues. But, yeah, you have to spend a lot of draft capital if you want Puka on your roster.
And then what about Davante Adams? Where would you recommend drafting him?
Davante right now is coming off the board probably late 3rd, early 4th round or so. And I think there's an argument to be made that maybe he's even undervalued at that spot. Just, I don't know if it's recency bias, knowing that the last couple of years have not been great for him, and maybe forgetting who Davante Adams is a little bit, and more importantly, forgetting what Matthew Stafford means to wide receivers. You look at some of the great individual seasons by wide receivers in this league, Matthew Stafford was the quarterback, right? When Calvin Johnson set the single-season record for receiving yards, it was with Matthew Stafford. When Cooper Kupp was a Triple Crown winner, it was with Matthew Stafford. When Puka Nacua set a rookie record, coming in with the Rams, it was with Matthew Stafford. So if there's anybody that can elevate somebody to the next level, even a veteran guy like Davante Adams, it's Stafford. And so I think right now, if I see Davante Adams somehow slip to the 4th round, I say thank you and take the discount on it.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And I'm seeing almost that gap widen because of Nakua's rise, right? And people are saying, oh, maybe Davante, like, they both can't have 1,000-yard receivers, right? That's what a lot of the questions. But
they can. We've seen it. We've seen it happen before in Los Angeles with the Rams. And usually in situations like this, if there are 2 guys that I think can give you similar production, I'm going to lean toward the guy with the better draft price. And look, and I get it. And Puka's going to be great. And if you draft him, you shouldn't have anything to worry about. But given the choice, knowing that I can get Davante Adams several rounds later and get a guy that I think is going to give me comparable numbers, I'm probably going to spend that first-round draft pick somewhere else and come back, and I'll get Davante a few rounds later.
Kyren Williams is expected to be the Rams' number 1 back. We were talking before with JB that Sean McVey is not necessarily known as a running back by committee type of coach. If you're the number 1, it means you're going to be getting some work. With that in mind, where would you take Kyren Williams?
He's probably late 2nd at this point. And
really?
Yeah, because, one, running backs are starting to come down draft boards a little bit just because we live in a PPR world, and so wide receivers get a whole lot more attention. And also, Kyren doesn't necessarily contribute to the Rams' passing game the way other guys do, right? He's not Jahmyr Gibbs. He's not Christian McCaffrey. He's not even Saquon Barkley in that regard. But what does help him is the fact, as you mentioned, Sean McVay tends to be a one-back coach. And so you look at a guy like Kyren Williams, and barring injury or, I know the ball security
extreme
issues.
fumbles.
Yeah, right. Barring those, Kyren Williams is going to get you, close to 250 touches a year. That's valuable in a world where most teams are splitting the workload between multiple guys.
Now, let's go ahead here. We asked the question on social media. So everybody on the YouTube and, of course, listening on air, send in your questions at ESPN Los Angeles. We'll take your fantasy questions here with Marcus live. We got a couple questions. You ready for some?
Go for it.
What the viewers want to ask?
Yep.
So we got this one from VeggieBurger237.
Okay.
Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, or Josh Jacobs. So a little running back question at 2.1 PPR league.
I still think it's Derrick Henry. You're talking about 3 guys that don't necessarily catch the ball a lot, but Derrick Henry, I'll say this. In fantasy, we always wish for certain things to happen, and rarely do they actually come to fruition. When Derrick Henry was going to hit free agency, everybody across fantasy football said the Baltimore Ravens would be a perfect landing spot. So we were all overjoyed, and it was everything we thought it would be. He continues to be El Tractorcito. He's impossible to bring down. The upside for him is, even as much as Lamar Jackson is a running quarterback and is very, very mobile, the one thing the Ravens have never done is use him near the goal line.
Yeah.
I've said for years, Josh Allen is the Bills' best goal line back, has been since he was drafted. When the Ravens get down close, they will turn around and hand it off to their running back. And who better to hand it off to than the guy who's built like a defensive end back there? So not only is he going to get a ton of touches, there aren't a whole lot of guys competing with him back there. He's going to get those goal line touches. I think of the three offenses that you mentioned, too, with Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, and Derrick Henry, the Ravens are the offense that I think is going to be the most prolific this year. So
really quick before we get to the next fantasy question, I want you to share something, Marcus, that I remember you bringing up earlier in the week regarding Saquon Barkley and the history of running backs in their season after 2,000 yards.
Yeah, I've said that I don't want any part of Saquon Barkley this year because before Saquon, 8 different guys have run for 2,000 yards. In the follow-up year, they have averaged about 960 fewer rushing yards over the course of the season. Even throwing the asterisk in there because one of those guys was Terrell Davis, who only played 2 games and got hurt. Even if you take his numbers out, it's still about 850 yards of difference on average between the 2,000-yard season and the follow-up season. So they're talking about best-case scenario. If the trend holds, Saquon is looking at 1,200 yards. Not a bad season, but not a season that I would want if I'm spending a top 3 or top 5 pick.
I was going to say, at the very least, you want to wait before you take him.
Yeah, but
he somehow slipped.
The problem is he's not making it out of the middle part of the first round.
No, he's not.
He's not. So,
yeah. So let's get another question here. Sticking with this running back theme right here. So I think this is the year, right, where we get a lot of these questions right now about running backs, perhaps because maybe that trend last year, it's maybe turning back into a running back league potentially. Maybe we see the value of the running back rising.
I hope so. I ride for these guys because they take a lot of punishment, and recently you've seen that the compensation hasn't really matched. So I would hope that we're turning back that direction. I think the problem is teams have decided now to split the workload amongst multiple guys.
True.
I think, though, what we have learned in fantasy is we have sort of figured out how to navigate a 2-player backfield. You can watch and you can figure out roles and when guys get used, and you can draft accordingly. The problem becomes if a team wants to incorporate a third running back. Then at that point, I just tend to wash my hands of it. But I do think we've gotten better at scouting and predicting running backs. I also think, though, you've seen it in drafts where 5-10 years ago in a 12-team league, 9 of the first 12 picks would be running backs.
Right.
Nowadays, that's flipped, where 8 or so are going to be wide receivers and maybe a few running backs sprinkle in.
Is there anybody, broadly speaking, that you think is going to get slept on in fantasy this year and shouldn't be?
I think when you get down to the later rounds, and maybe I shouldn't say this out loud because of where I am, but I think there are a couple 49er guys that I think are being undervalued right now. I think Jawan Jennings is one. I think Brandon Ayuk, to an extent, is one, and I know he's still rehabbing, and he's very likely going to miss the first few games of the season. But I think everybody looked at what the Niner offense did last year, and recency bias has everybody kind of scared off from it. But when this group was healthy, this was one of the more prolific offenses in the NFL. Right now, these guys are coming off the board. Jennings is probably an 8th-round guy. Ayuk right now is like 9 or 10. I think if the Niners stay healthy, I think they can get back to kind of where they were a couple of years ago. And I think if it does go that way, you could end up with a couple of real good values at wide receiver.
And then the flip side, is there anybody, we mentioned Saquon Barkley, that you also think stay away, or at least stay away early?
Yeah, I mean, look, I have concerns about Brian Thomas Jr. in Jacksonville. I mean, he had a great rookie season, but a lot of that production came later in the year when Jacksonville was just riddled with injuries, and he got a lot of targets because there wasn't a whole lot of other options for them to throw the football to. The other part, and this is just weird, and I can't put my finger on why this happened, a lot of his production came with Mac Jones instead of Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if it was just an oddity, but for whatever reason, he and Mac Jones seem to have a better connection.
I bet a lot of Jacksonville fans would have their theory.
I'm sure they would. They had a better connection than he did to Trevor Lawrence. The third part of this is the Travis Hunter factor. Now that he's there in Jacksonville, and Liam Cohen has not been shy about saying, we want to use him on offense. We want to get him really, really involved. So there might be a little bit more target competition for Brian Thomas than there was this time last year.
So I got a question here for myself.
Okay.
On my situation.
That's great. Be selfish. Absolutely.
Yeah, might as well take this opportunity. So one of my big leagues with my high school buddies, longtime friends, we get to keep 3 players. I'm, of course, keeping Bijan Robinson as my 1.
Yep.
So this scenario, this question, I got 3 receivers that they're all ranked right next to each other. I can keep 2, Marcus. Let me know who's the 2. A.J. Brown, Ladd McConkey, or Drake London.
Do you lose a draft pick based on what round you took them previously?
You do not, which is the good thing. You just get to keep them for free.
Okay. A.J. Brown for sure. That's the one I'm taking. I'm going to say Drake London. This is a guy who's produced with shoddy quarterback play, and I'm choosing to believe that Michael Penix is going to be an upgrade over what the Falcons have had the last couple of years. I like Ladd McConkey. I've been a fan of his ever since Georgia, but I think I like Drake London a little bit more. I think he's more of a red zone, end zone target than McConkey is. So, A.J. Brown's a no-brainer, and I'd say Drake London's the other one. Plus, fight on forever, right? We gotta stick up for the USC guys here.
Yeah, I love that answer.
So I'm on my YouTube chat right now, and our moderator Parker
P-Bell.
He's asking about DK Metcalf's value in Pittsburgh.
P-Bell, first time, long time?
First time, long time. DK Metcalf's value is going to be based on the fact that the Steelers don't have a wide receiver 2 right now. And so he's going to get a lot of opportunity. I think what you're going to get from DK Metcalf in Pittsburgh is going to sort of be what you got from DK Metcalf in Seattle, which is to say not bad, but he's kind of a high-end wide receiver, too, and I would draft him as such. So if you see him, sort of hanging around in the 4th, 5th round or something like that, I think that's a good spot for him. If people are sort of getting itchy and want to take him earlier, I'm going to stay away. Aaron Rodgers, obviously not what he once was, but still good enough to feed at least one wide receiver. So Metcalf, strong wide receiver 2 vibes for me.
The problem, though, is without a wideout 2, you just wonder how much double coverage he's going to see.
Yeah, it's going to be like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams last year in New York, right?
Yeah, I think a little bit. But, I think they'll figure out ways to force feed him. And I think depending on how they want to use him, if they're just going to use him, and send him on missions downfield, it might get kind of tough. If they decide they want to kind of tap into his run after the catch skills, kind of get him across the field, just things where Rodgers can lead him into space, I think they can find some success that way.
Is there anybody else in the chat with questions?
Does Parker have more questions he wants to ask about his team?
No. I think we're done. I think we're done.
All right. Coming up next, we are going to get into more storylines from this training camp. And also, Jerry Jones has entered the chat with Micah Parsons. Jay-Z has entered the chat with Micah Parsons. It is always a soap opera in Dallas. And all that coming up next.
And this is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky.
Hi, this is Devontae Adams of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
Training camp coverage presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming and casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at Pechanga, just off I-15 in Temecula. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations or more information.
More coverage of Rams training camp next on your home of Rams football.
The Shoresy Fall Classic returns. Join the cast of the hit TV show Shoresy as they take on NHL alumni from the Los Angeles Kings. December 14th, 3 p.m., Crypto.com Arena. On sale now at AXS.com.
Waba Grill is an LA original, so we've got to keep it real. Real fresh with our Asian-inspired menu that's grilled to order every time.
Pick me up and never put me down.
Real quality with our marinated proteins like hormone-free chicken, ribeye steak, wild-caught salmon, and shrimp. Enjoy $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. with our 5-piece pork veggie dumplings and a value-sized premium beverage drink like our tangy passion fruit lemonade. Waba Grill, keeping it real every day for you.
When a parent sees their child smile, they see hope. Aleem hoped that his son Rajib would have an easier life than he had. You see, Rajib, just like his father, was born with a cleft. But thanks to Smile Train, both father and son received free, life-changing surgeries, transforming their smiles into symbols of hope. To learn more and support the global cleft community, visit smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
The most followed sports radio station in America.
710 ESPN.
At ESPN Los Angeles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch.
LA's mega sports station.
710 ESPN.
We're definitely going to be late for kickoff. We should be at the game by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I've got to fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple of towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We missed tailgating because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas. Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the whole first quarter.
Football fans, download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SEASON to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SEASON for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SEASON for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code SEASON.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-294-0222. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-294-0222. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-294-0222. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Don't miss a must-listen Monday and the 9-hour LA Sports Mega Block beginning at 9 a.m. with the Travis and DeMarco Show. Mason and Ireland at 12 noon. And Sedano's back, Sedano and Cap, with Beto Duran at 3 p.m. Must-listen Monday as we react to Luka's extension and preseason NFL football so close. Don't miss a moment, 7:10 a.m., the all-new ESPN LA app and on YouTube at ESPN Los Angeles. A must-listen Monday at 9 a.m. on ESPN LA.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
New era, same home.
This could launch the Lakers into the stratosphere.
The Lake Show have a new ownership group led by Mark Walter.
And 710 ESPN had plenty to say.
I mean, is it fair to say maybe some of the biggest news in decades here in LA?
It was breaking news that shook the sports world.
The Buss family is entering an agreement to sell majority ownership of the Lakers to Mark Walter.
But one thing remains the same.
The heart of every Lakers fan beats through 710 ESPN.
Oh, my God, guys. What a day in Lakerland.
From shock to excitement.
From questions to confidence.
This now puts the Lakers in every conversation. Yeah. Now there isn't a player they can't afford.
The reaction started right here on 710 ESPN.
This is awesome. New era for the purple and gold. Same home for the Los Angeles Lakers.
710 ESPN.
Hello, I'm Allie McGraw for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. Our animal companions rely on us, especially during wildfire season, when disaster can strike with almost no warning. If wildfires force you to evacuate your home, Do not leave your animals behind. Animals left to fend for themselves often burn to death or die from smoke inhalation. If you must leave your home, take your animals with you.
For more information, visit PETA.org.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
710 ESPN.
KSPN, Los Angeles.
A good karma Brands radio station.
And it is a Sunday special live from Rams training camp. On your home of Rams football, 710 ESPN, the all-new ESPN LA app, and on YouTube at ESPN Los Angeles. This is a Rams training camp special with Marcus Grant from NFL Network and Andy Kamenetzky.
Training camp coverage on ESPN LA presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming and casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at Pechanga, just off I-15 in Temecula. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations or more information.
Bringing you all the sights and sounds of Rams training camp. Marcus and Andy live from Rams training camp on your Sunday right now. Now let's head to the practice field at LMU. Time for Marcus and Andy and the Rams training camp special right now.
Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant, live at LMU Rams training camp. There's still a few players out on the field right now. A fair amount of them seems to have dispersed, but we've still got some practice going on. Guys getting ready, sharpening up before the preseason begins very soon. And then before we know, we've got the actual Marcus 2025 Rams season to watch and to look forward to.
Absolutely. Should be a lot of fun. Of course, next week, joint practices in Oxnard with the Dallas Cowboys, and there's nothing going on with the Cowboys, right? No,
oh, Lord.
No news, no drama with the Cowboys.
So,
right?
People may be aware, Friday, Micah Parsons. Marcus and I were actually talking about this Friday when it broke. Micah Parsons went to Twitter in the Notes app and wrote out a very, very long, elaborate trade request saying that he's tired of his negotiations for a contract extension with the Cowboys. He feels like he's been jerked around. He feels like they haven't been treating him the way that he would like. This is just the latest in what has been a very prolonged negotiation, I would say unnecessarily prolonged, between the Cowboys and a star. So he has said very loudly, definitively, I want to trade. I do not want to be here. Jerry Jones was asked about this in Oxnard, where, as you said, the Cowboys are. And Jerry Jones said, first of all, thank you all for being here. I love this circle of microphones. Thank you very, very. That's not what Jerry actually said. It's just what his thought bubble said. But Jerry said, quote, I think the world of Micah. And that request is just part of negotiations. He then went on to say, talking about the contract situation and sarcastically, I'm reading from a report from ESPN, sarcastically mentioned the back tightness that has kept the Pro Bowler off the field through 9 training camp practices. That is 30 years of old stuff. Some of the issues we're hearing about trading, hurt backs, things like that, that's got to go over great with Micah Parsons, Marcus, who felt like Jerry's taken some shots at him before.
Yeah, he also had Jerry had that weird statement about how, he could get hit by a bus or something. It's been very weird. And now the latest thing, because, it hasn't been weird enough, Sean Carter, a.k.a. Jay-Z, and Rock Nation.
And Des Bryant.
Have joined him. Apparently part of this was people asking Jerry why it is that he's not dealing with Micah Parsons' agent, and he says he doesn't deal with agents. And he had the quote, because when we have a problem with the player, the agent is nowhere to be found. Jay-Z said that Dez would make all meetings, speaking of Des Bryant and their negotiations a while ago.
This is 10 years ago, by the way.
Yes.
Which apparently really shaped the hell out of Jerry Jones.
This
experience shook him to his core.
It stuck with him. Jay-Z said that Dez would make all meetings. Jay-Z and I negotiated the contract, spent hours. He said, anybody in my organization is on time. He said, my office used to be on the street corner, and I've always been early, so they will be on time. And what did I say? I said, I'm going to call you when I have a problem, and he quit taking my call. So that led to Rock Nation putting out a statement, which is sort of where I jumped into the story and I will say I was utterly confused this afternoon why exactly Rock Nation was putting out a statement about Jerry Jones and what have you. But the statement says, in 2015, at the 21 Club on a napkin, Jerry Jones, Juan Perez, Sean Jay-Z Carter, and Stephen Jones negotiated a 5-year, $70 million deal, which included a $45 million guarantee and a $20 million signing bonus for Dez Bryant. At the time, it was the second largest contract for a wide receiver in NFL history. The claim that Mr. Carter or Rock Nation representatives did not return a call from Jerry Jones is not only a false statement, but it's also a comical one.
And then Dez Bryant took to Twitter, all caps, Jerry Jones, I don't think it's smart to mention my name. I kept quiet about a lot of unfair bleep on some G bleep. We can have story time if that's what we are doing. There's so much, by the way, too, in Jerry Jones's quote, like talking about Sean Carter, a.k.a. Jay-Z, said that his office used to be a street corner, like going back to Jay-Z's professed, acknowledged.
Days as a drug dealer. Yeah.
Drug dealer days, but like going back to, this is where I guess Jay-Z's business deals first began.
He's a businessman. He's not the businessman.
I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
So he's bringing that up, which is just sort of a weird thing to be bringing up, talking about, like, honestly, one of the biggest moguls in this country, and I guess alluding to the idea that Jay-Z and I guess the reps from Rock Nation and Dez Bryant were unreliable to show up at these meetings, sometimes didn't show up at all. They weren't on time, like Jay-Z on the street corner.
Which, one,
Jay-Z was always on the street corner on time.
Obviously.
According to Jerry Jones.
There's two sides of the story, right? And Rock Nation and Jay-Z are vehemently denying anything that Jerry is saying. But let's just hold for a moment that Jerry is factual with what he is saying. You're telling me that this one negative experience with a player agent has somehow soured you on talking
10 years ago.
All player agents?
Like prime.
All of them?
Prime Dez Bryant has been a minute. It's been a minute since we've had prime Dez Bryant. This is a long, frankly, like the days of Rock Nation as one of the premier sports agencies. Feels like a little while ago.
It felt like a novelty at the time, and it's definitely been a long time.
Also, too, Jerry Jones essentially saying that these agents are unreliable, I can't trust them to return my calls, stuff like that. Apparently, you were willing to have Dez Bryant's contract get negotiated at the 21 Club.
On a cocktail napkin.
On a cocktail napkin. That doesn't sound like the most professional setting either.
Yeah, it's really hard. It just seems like the evidence is sort of stacking against Jerry Jones in all of these things, right? Because you've got now this story with Jay-Z firing back at him, Dez Bryant taking to social media. But on top of it, and we talked about this on Friday, with CeeDee Lamb putting out tweets, basically pulling a Teddy KGB. Money.
Him and money.
You've got a lot of players who are, if not vocally, sort of very subtly lining up behind Micah Parsons. There are reports of several players sort of changing their social media avatars or their backgrounds to kind of stand up for Micah Parsons. It just feels like everyone sort of lining up against Jerry Jones makes it hard to believe what Jerry is saying.
Well, if you believe Jerry Jones, he alluded to a $200 million offer, or near $200 million offer that sounds like it was with regards to Micah Parsons. He said, quote, what y'all don't know, that I offered him, and it's a hell of a lot more than you think I did. That's what you don't know. But my point is, I reached. Make no mistake about it, I reached. I assume he means like he reached across the table, across the aisle, trying to make a deal happen. The idea that you don't want to deal with a player's representation, you just want to deal with a player, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And it just feels like Jerry, one, not surprising, trying to control the situation in every which way. But at some point, you have to look at the track record over the last 30 years. It has been about 30 years since the Cowboys have won a Super Bowl. And I think in terms of on the field, they're not really relevant. They remain relevant in the sense that
They've
continue
been
to garner.
grandfathered into relevancy.
Yeah, and I think Parsons hinted at that. Not even hinted, just straight up said it when he said, I'm trying to make America's team great again. He basically straight up said, we are kind of an also-ran in the NFL, and I'm trying to do my part to get us back to the top of the mountain. And at some point, I get it, Jerry Jones does not want to overpay, but if you are really about trying to make this franchise relevant and actually have them truly be contenders, at what point do you come off of your pride and get a player what he wants that can help you get to that level?
Well, it's interesting, too, because if you listen to Jerry, and I guess at the end of the day, this is factually true just because the contracts happen, but he has said at the end of the day, he gave Dak Prescott the contract that he gave him, which was big. He gave a big contract to CeeDee Lamb. Like, there have been all of these histories of prolonged and contentious negotiations between the Cowboys and star player X. In the end, they've all worked out. As he said, quote, so there's always negotiation, and the negotiation is to put up the best team on the field. And many times it's not even a question of, quote, deserving. I enjoy Micah. But as always in any relationships, there's different moods at different times of your relationship. That's what it is. Don't lose any sleep over it. That's the one thing I would say to our fans. Don't lose any sleep over it. It just sounds like to Jerry, this is part of the game. Like even when he said, like, oh, Micah's trade request, that's just part of negotiations. All this other stuff, like it's just part of the game. But I think with Jerry, it's not even about the game of negotiations, the back and forth. Like, when you see any big deal go down in any industry, Jerry, I think part of the game is the spectacle, like the soap opera. That's all part of the game. Micah Parsons is upset. Yeah, that's part of the game, man.
I think what's different, though, now versus a couple of decades ago is back then, as management, as ownership, you really could control the narrative. You could shape the narrative, and you could generally paint the player as, well, this guy, he's greedy, or he doesn't care about the team, and he doesn't want to really be here. We made him a fair offer, and he turned us down. We are now in an age where athletes get to shape their own narrative.
Yep.
Whether it's via social media, podcasts, whatever, it's more than just being a guy who maybe leaks things to his favorite reporter. Now, if you're Micah Parsons, whichever way you want to make TikTok videos about it, you want to go on a podcast about it, you want to just go to the Notes app and talk about it, you have a lot more ability to go out and put out your side of the story to refute what's being said about you. And I think that's a thing that I don't know that Jerry Jones has completely caught up with.
I'm not quite sure. Listeners might hear a huge stir going on right now. I can't tell if it's because Jimmy G walked past or because Sean McVey is right next to us.
Yes.
He's about to get interviewed by.
The answer is yes.
Either, but
either or both. Yes.
Sean McVey is sitting down with J.B. Long and DeMarco Farr to give an interview to those guys. But man, just about everyone now has left the field, but these fans are still here. They are hoping to get some autographs from some of their favorite players, but also, man, I think they just want to soak all of this in before it's finally done. And then they're just waiting for the preseason and the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, this is it, right? This is the last open practice for fans. So it's been a great few days out here. I know the last 2 days it has been packed to the gills. And today especially, everybody's hanging out. Yesterday when it wrapped up, everybody kind of cleared out quickly. Today everybody's sort of hanging out. And I think maybe they are waiting to see if Coach McVey comes over, maybe to shake a few hands. I don't know if I hold my breath on that necessarily. But there are definitely a lot more people lingering today than there were yesterday.
All right, coming up next, you just mentioned Sean McVey, and a thought entered my mind that I want to run past you, Marcus, in terms of Sean McVey and just sort of his status in Los Angeles. So get into that coming up next. Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant, live from Rams training camp at LMU 710 ESPN.
And this is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky.
Hi, this is Devontae Adams of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
Training camp coverage presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming and casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at Pechanga, just off I-15 in Temecula. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations or more information.
More coverage of Rams Training Camp next on your home of Rams football.
Do you have trouble getting in and out of the bathtub? Are you afraid you'll slip and fall entering or exiting a tub? Safe Step walk-in tubs can transform your bathtub from an area of concern to a calming refuge. Call them today at 1-800-731-4558 and save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs and showers are proudly made in Tennessee and offer an ultra-low step-in, avoiding that difficult climb over a traditional bathtub wall. They also offer a variety of therapeutic benefits that may help soothe your aching muscles and joints, increasing your mobility, boosting your energy, and improving your sleep. Safe Step walk-in tubs are designed to easily fit your existing tub space and are often installed in as little as 1 day. Just dial 1-800-731-4558 today to save $1,600 and receive a free shower package. That's 1-800-731-4558 for a free no-obligation consultation and to save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs. Safety never felt so good.
Transitioning out of the military, it's difficult. Just about everything around you changes. I would get phone calls that brothers were dying, some of them to suicide. And I'd found myself in another cold cemetery. And I started to wonder if I was next. It's a struggle to know that you're facing challenges, but not be ready to face them. Sleep doesn't come easy. And when it comes, it doesn't last long. You're tired all the time. I didn't reach out for that help, but thank God my wife did. She got me registered for Wounded Warrior Project. Talking to somebody that would listen to me and understood my story helped me realize that it was time to change. There's a new fight, there's a new mission, and that's something I'm eternally grateful for.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combat stigma.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Marcus and Andy live from Rams Training Camp on your Sunday right now.
Hi, this is Matthew Stafford of your Los Angeles Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
Once again, we head back to the practice field at LMU. And once again, Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky on ESPN LA.
And the field has just about cleared here at Rams Training Camp live at LMU. Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant. We are watching the last day of Rams Training Camp before the preseason eventually kicks off, then the regular season. Still a lot of people in the stands right now. You can hear them right now. They are hoping to catch a glimpse or get an autograph from some of their favorite players before they retire inside and the training camp officially concludes. But we're talking about Sean McVey, who's being interviewed right now by J.B. Long and DeMarco Farr to our left. He is a rock star among coaches.
Yes.
Like, truly a rock star. Like, I was thinking about some of the coaches in L.A., and there are some pretty big personalities or recognizable guys. Like J.J. Redick is something of, if nothing else, a burgeoning rock star coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs to have some more success under his belt, more time. But he was a big media star. He was a hot hire. He is very confident in front of a microphone. Like Sean McVey, the hair is always on point. A lot of attention paid towards grooming. He is a rock star. Dave Roberts may not have a rock star personality, but he has won 2 World Series with the Dodgers. He's been there a long time. He is very instantly recognizable. I think USC was hoping that Lincoln Riley would be that rock star among coaches.
Hasn't panned out so far.
It has not panned out so far, but on paper, Lincoln Riley is a rock star among coaches. The Lakers had it in the past with Phil Jackson. USC had it with Pete Carroll. But Sean McVey, I think, is the biggest rock star among coaches in this city. Is he the biggest star on this team?
Yeah, I think if it's not, then it's Puka Nacua. But I think he is. I mean, I think when you think of the Rams,
like, is he the face of the Rams?
He's definitely the face of the Rams. I think he's the first person you think of with this team. And you get to the Staffords, the Nacuas, whomever else. But I think also because he's been here. I know he's not the longest tenured Ram. That's Rob Havenstein. We talked to Tyler Higbee, who's actually been here longer than Sean McVey. But I think it's the fact that he's been here for a while, that he's had success. I mean, that he came out of the gate firing with this team. And then all the things you mentioned, being telegenic, being very personable, and still being something of kind of a whiz kid, right? I mean, he's still not 40 years old yet. He's been here for a while. He's had a ton of success. I think all of those things sort of contribute to him being kind of the first person you think of with the Los Angeles Rams.
He's got this great combination of extreme confidence. Like, Sean McVay is a very, very confident guy, and he projected that confidence when he first got hired by the Rams, super young. Like, I know he comes from a football family, and he had been on coaching staffs, but he had no experience as the head guy. But he still was extremely confident enough that he put guys like Wade Phillips on his staff, even though Wade Phillips Wade Phillips is the prototype. This is who replaces me if things don't go well.
Right.
And and I say this because there's a lot of coaches, including, frankly, Jeff Fisher, who wouldn't have wanted somebody like a Phillips on his staff because I think he'd be worried about getting replaced, and because of that, he didn't have the best staff possible. Sean McVay was very clearly, I want the best help around me, and if this eventually ends up my replacement, so be it. But I want to be put in a position to succeed. He does a great job of being both super confident, but also pretty humble. Like, he will always give credit to everybody else and fall on the sword whenever anything goes wrong, even though he knows everything that goes wrong. It's not all my fault.
Right.
But he knows what it does for his players to not throw them under the bus.
Absolutely. And I think that goes a long way. And I talked to Blake Corum a couple of days ago and sort of asked him the difference, to compare and contrast, at least personality-wise, Jim Harbaugh, who he played for at Michigan, versus Sean McVay, who he now plays for in the NFL. And look, without being derogatory toward Coach Harbaugh, one of the things he said was, Coach McVay is more of a player's guy. The Jim Harbaugh is very structured, very disciplined, and not that there's no discipline here, but that, McVay sort of relates to the players on kind of a different level. And I think it helps when you know that your coach has your back, that if you go out and you make a mistake, that he is not going to throw you under the bus. I think that gives guys a lot of confidence to go out there and try to be their best selves and realize that if they come up short, that you have a guy in the locker room who's going to support you through the whole thing.
That was when you knew that the relationship between the Rams and Jared Goff was going to end, because it was one of the few times where you'd really see Sean McVay outwardly frustrated with a player, and without throwing Jared Goff under the bus, talking about Jared in ways that made it clear that he was frustrated by what was happening. And whether you think it was justified or not, the real point was it was outside of McVay's character, because typically he doesn't do that. And those rare exceptions prove the rule. I mean, that's why when Kyron Williams was talking with Mason and I about his contract situation, he feels confident that an extension is going to happen, that he can continue practicing in good faith without having to worry about getting hurt. And one of those factors was Sean McVay. He said McVay is the first coach he's ever had that it ever felt like cared about him on a personal level, like they would text him just to say, hey, how you doing? Everything good?
Well, and I think contrast that with what we just talked about with Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones, right? Where you have...
You don't think Jerry's texting his players often?
Certainly not about, hey, how you doing? But you've got an owner / general manager who is
See
coming
that lady
out
over there
in the press, right? Exactly. Who's coming out in the press basically and dumping on his players and saying, I don't want to deal with their agents and things like that. Versus a coach where you have a level of confidence that, hey, you know what? We haven't gotten something done yet, but I do believe the way things are going that we are going to be okay.
Okay, Matthew Stafford, by the way, is walking past us right now with his kids. His back is in good enough shape now that he can hold 2 children's hands and walk with them. And anybody who's a parent knows that is not always easy. Like holding your kids' hands when you're walking. Oh, that can throw out your back if you're not careful. So his back couldn't be that bad.
No, he is. He's walking back with his daughters. So.
He looks very comfortable right now.
I love this, divining health by watching players walk. This is where we are now.
Those kids all look exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
They're really adorable kids.
I got an interesting question for you guys. Going back to McVey and the hottest coach in L.A. and blah, blah, blah. If there was one table available at the hottest restaurant in L.A., who would it go to? Would it go to JJ? Would it go to Sean McVey? Would it go to Dave Roberts? Or would it go to Harbaugh?
I think it's McVey. I think Sean McVey gets it. Although I guess it depends what time of year is it, you know?
Let's just say right now.
I think if I had to handicap it, sorry, Jim, you're in 4th place.
Yeah. Also, you can throw in Lane, too.
Lane?
Lincoln?
Lincoln Riley.
Sorry. Lincoln Riley, sorry.
I'm going Jim Harbaugh 5th because the Chargers kind of feel like interlopers in this city, if we're being honest. They have really not established a footprint. Lincoln Riley would be 4th, just because his time with SC has not been exactly what everyone expects.
But it is USC, though.
It is, but I was going to say.
If he just says, USC card or have a USC shirt on,
this is part of the problem. A lot of those super wealthy USC alum either hang out in those restaurants or own the restaurants, and they may be unhappy with
They're not happy with Lincoln right now.
What?
I'm putting Dave Roberts
over Pepper's food or something?
I'm putting Dave Roberts 3, just because I think Dave is too polite ultimately and too low-key, too humble.
To throw his weight around.
I think, if anything, Dave Roberts would be the coach that just bows out and says, JJ, Sean, you guys get the table. It's fine. I'll eat somewhere else. It doesn't feel like Dave Roberts to really try to push the issue. So now, Marcus, we're down to Sean McVey or J.J. Redick.
Yeah.
Do we have to debate for the table at all? Because we have to debate. J.J. Redick is going to just push the debate further and further until eventually Sean McVey just gets sick of it.
Just taps out.
Dude, take the damn table.
Just have the table.
I'm not debating the semantics of vocabulary words, bro. Just take the damn table. It's fine. But in terms of recognition, I'm probably going McVey.
In this city right now, yeah.
I also think McVey, because if you are a restaurant owner, I think you get a little bit more pop from it, right? I think in terms of local buzz, the combination of the team, their success, the because JJ is very recognizable, certainly on a national level.
And the Lakers are the biggest team in this city, period. Yes. They are.
But JJ, I think, is maybe the 3rd name you think of when you talk about the Lakers.
All right, let's say the Rams go to the NFC Championship. They lose. And then JJ takes the Lakers to the NBA Finals, and they lose. Who gets that table? Who gets that table?
Is it a gentleman's sweep, 4-2, 4-3? And do they lose to the Celtics?
Let's say 4-2.
4-2. So it's a respectable finals loss, not to the Celtics.
And for some reason, the Rams lose to the 49ers in a close game.
Ooh.
So if you lose to the Celtics, you're not getting the table.
No.
You're not getting the table if you lose to the Celtics.
Well, here's the thing, though. By next year, JJ will have spent that much more time as Lakers head coach.
And get more face time and everything.
More face time, more success, because in your world, Funchy, they just got to the finals. I'm still thinking it's McVey, but JJ's very close. I think the answer, Marcus, is either JJ or Sean gets that exclusive table first.
Absolutely.
At Mr. Chow's in Beverly Hills.
I'm still thinking it's McVey, but, again, this time next year, it could have changed depending on what the Luka LeBron Lakers do during the season.
Is Mr. Chow's still big?
I believe so. I was just looking at very expensive restaurants in L.A., and that was one of the ones that popped up.
I remember, like, in the 80s and early 90s, like, Mr. Chow's was the ultimate sign of prestige and success, FU money. Like, you would go to Mr. Chow's to be seen. It's like the restaurant, I can't remember the name of it, Craig's.
Craig's West Hollywood.
That Luka and Rob Pelinka went to, very much wanting everyone to see them there.
Yes, very fattening food there, too. Chicken Parmesan is like this big.
Oh, that sounds like it's right up my alley then. Well, I probably couldn't afford it.
That was maybe the last thing Luka ate before the transformation into skinny Luka.
You know, that makes sense. Right? Just go somewhere where you can get yourself one big, great, fattening meal, and then in the morning, the diet starts.
It's like us Cheesecake Factory. To us, Cheesecake Factory.
All right, coming up, it is an AI world, and AI has predicted the NFL standings for the 2025 season. Where did the Rams shake out? We will get into that coming up next, 710 ESPN.
And this is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky.
Hi, this is Devontae Adams of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
Training camp coverage presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming and casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at Pechanga, just off I-15 in Temecula. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations or more information.
More coverage of Rams Training Camp next on your home of Rams football.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary. Individuals and businesses with tax problems. Listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
I noticed that my central vision started to blur.
Figures that are usually straight started to distort to become wavy.
What are these little dark spots with blurring that I'm seeing?
There's a blind spot like a blob over my vision now.
Is my vision lost forever? Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist in a timely manner have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Don't delay seeing a retina specialist. It's worth the visit to save your vision so you don't miss out on life's precious moments, like seeing your grandchild grow up, enjoying a sunset with that special someone, or reading a good book. Visit seeforalifetime.org. Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky on ESPN LA. Your home for Rams football.
Hello, this is Puka Nacua of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
We head back to the practice field at LMU and back to the Rams Training Camp Special on ESPN LA.
Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant live at Rams Training Camp. The field has officially cleared. Rams Training Camp is officially in the books, Marcus. we now look forward to preseason, but then we actually do look forward to the regular season, and that is going to be really exciting for the Rams. And you also know, Marcus, it's an AI world now.
Yep.
We are living in a computer simulation at all times. AI computers are predicting everything for us now, and Google Gemini was tasked by USA Today to run, I guess, some simulations or whatever to come out with the records for all the teams in the NFL for the 2025 season. And the Rams, Google Gemini has coming in at 10-7, second in the NFC West.
10-7 would match what their record was from last year. The difference is, apparently, according to AI, the Niners rebound from 6-11 to go 12-5 and win the division this year.
12-5 Niners, 10-7 Rams, 8-9 Cardinals. I believe the exact same record.
Same record they had last year, yeah.
Yep. And then Seattle, 7-10. Not much confidence there in Sam Darnold.
So that's where the big difference is, because the Seahawks last year were also 10-7 because of tiebreakers. They finished second in the division. So apparently, according to artificial intelligence, the Seahawks. What is that, a difference of 6 games? A 6-game difference based on last year?
AI loves Geno Smith or hates Sam Darnold.
One of the two. Yeah, which actually is a good question. Where do they have the Raiders now that Geno Smith is the starting quarterback?
Let me look this up right now.
Of the Las Vegas Raiders. They have the Raiders at 6-11, so I don't know that Geno's making a huge difference.
It's
for the
really
Raiders.
shots at Sam Darnold.
I think that's really what it is.
So now, obviously 10-7 for the Rams would not be an outrageous prediction, like you said, Marcus. It's how they finished last year. It's, I think, a very viable record for them this year. How much do you think, though, that the Niners are really going to rebound from last year? Because that is as big a question for figuring out the division, but also, too, it's going to weigh into the Rams' success.
It is. I think for the Niners, obviously health is a big part of the story because that's a lot of what sunk them last year. But I do think they have real questions defensively. They lose Dre Greenlaw to free agency. They lose Talanoa Hufanga, who was emerging as a big part of their secondary. They lose him to free agency. That's right. A guy who, honestly, early in his career was looking like Troy Polamalu 2.0.
That guy would crush you on hits. He is a hitter.
An absolute hitter, but both those guys are gone now. So I think there's some question about, what they can be defensively, but it's going to be a lot of pressure, and especially Brock Purdy now that he's gotten paid. If they can stay healthy, if Christian McCaffrey comes back healthy again, I think there's a lot of pressure on the Niners to have to score because I don't think this defense is going to be that same fearsome defense they saw a few years ago.
How much are they going to miss Deebo Samuel insofar as trying to score?
I think they'll miss Deebo. I think it's funny because I know we talked fantasy, and I've been saying Deebo's one of those guys who is way better in real football than he is potentially in fantasy football because he does a lot of the dirty work that the Niners needed on offense, right? He picked up the tough yards. He made the tough catches, things that don't necessarily translate huge statistically, but really do mean a lot in terms of moving the football, keeping the offense on the field, and ultimately scoring points. I think they'll miss that a little bit, and I think they're hoping that a guy like Ricky Pearsall, who they drafted a couple years ago out of Florida, can sort of fill in some of those gaps as well. Yeah, I think they're hoping Jawan Jennings steps up and that Brandon Ayuk gets healthy and is less disgruntled or more gruntled or whatever you want to say, and kind of keeps this offense going.
Also, shout out to Kyle Juszczyk and the old school fullback getting some work with the Niners. Brock Purdy, you mentioned him earlier that he got paid. He's a great example that I often give to people when they talk about how non-elite quarterbacks, like the non-Mahomeses of the world, the non-Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, those guys, how they will always seem overpaid. And what I think people don't realize is even if you don't think Brock Purdy is an elite standout quarterback, if you want, I'm not looking to debate it. I don't think he is necessarily elite either. To be a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL, like somebody that you can actually put on the field, even if you think of him as like a glorified game manager, he doesn't screw up managing the game. There are way fewer of them than people think. Like it is so hard to find guys who can even just keep the trains running at an above average level.
I always say if you want a reminder of how difficult it is to play quarterback in the NFL, there are 32 starting jobs on a planet with billions of people. We can't find 32 people to fill those jobs on a high level. I mean, that's sort of what it is. And with Brock Purdy, I think you can argue that, yeah, the Niners may have overpaid for him. But one, that's sort of the market for quarterbacks. The other part of that is if you are John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and you want to move on, can you readily and easily find as good or better of an option than Brock Purdy? And I think the answer is no.
Yeah, it is, believe it or not, and I know a lot of fans listening now would say not, but it is a truth. It is harder to find an upgrade over Brock Purdy than you think.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's impossible. It clearly isn't, because there are better quarterbacks in the league than Purdy, but how many of them are actually available? How many of them are actually gettable for you with your whatever your cap situation, whatever? Like the opportunity to get those guys who are actually better than Purdy, it's hard. It's hard to do it.
It is. And look at the quarterbacks that moved this offseason. Sam Darnold, who's coming off a career year, but
nobody trusts him. At all.
Geno Smith, who had one really standout year in Seattle, but generally has been
It took Geno Smith a long time to even reach this place now where people are starting to trust him.
Right. And then Aaron Rodgers, who has decided this is his final year, but even the last 2 or 3 years has been a shell of his former self.
Yes.
That's what the quarterback market was. So faced with that, or faced with maybe possibly overpaying for Brock Purdy, the obvious answer is maybe possibly overpay for Brock Purdy.
Especially, too, if you are a team that wants to win in the moment. It is going to be so hard not just to find the quarterback that is a decided, definitive upgrade over Purdy, but that you can get right now.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to wait around. If you feel like your window for contention is right now, you don't have the luxury of waiting around at all. And taking a step back maybe for 1 year, looking to get a better guy in the future, you might have wrecked your best possible season. You have no idea how good you're going to be in a couple years.
It's also funny because this sort of all happened by accident, right? The Niners were banking that Trey Lance was the quarterback of the future. They spent the number 3 overall pick on him, and he gets hurt a couple years into his career. If he gets hurt, and if things go the way at least Kyle Shanahan hoped, we probably never have heard the name Brock Purdy. Instead, Trey Lance gets hurt, Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, Purdy gets on the field, and the rest has sort of become history. I mean, he gets them to a Super Bowl. He's had them in contention pretty much every year and has played his way into a pretty big contract. But it's just a reminder that things don't always work out the way you plan in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, with Matthew Stafford and, the contract negotiation that eventually worked out and Stafford is back, it never felt like Stafford truly wanted to leave. It clearly never felt like the Rams wanted Stafford to leave, in part because where the hell were they going to find someone better than Stafford right now? Even if you think Stafford is in decline at 37, which I think to some degree he is because he's 37, and his stats last season were among some of the lowest for any 16-game, 15-game, 16-game, 17-game season he's had with the Rams. He still is a way above average quarterback. You're not going to find anybody better than him right now.
Right, but it does beg the question, and I know it's one that has been spoken about a lot, is at some point they do have to start planning for life after Matthew Stafford. That even if you believe, and I still believe that he can have a very productive season at 37, almost 38 years old, father time does come for us all, and you sort of wonder in the building, what is the plan? And look, maybe it has something to do with this year, right? They've got that first-round pick from the Atlanta Falcons. That could potentially be something great. Does that factor in potentially to their plans of what happens once Stafford finally hangs up.
All right, coming up next, rounding out the show, capping things off, let's talk about that a little bit. Just like, do we have any clue what things are going to look like after Matthew Stafford? Like, what does it mean for the Rams? What does it even mean for Sean McVay? Like, the prospect of, if you had to start over with a young quarterback, how would that work? That and any other closing thoughts we have about the Rams with training camp now in the books. Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant, 710 ESPN.
And this is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky.
Hi, this is Devontae Adams of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
Training camp coverage presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming and casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at Pechanga, just off I-15 in Temecula. Visit Pechanga.com or call 888-PECHANGA for reservations or more information.
More coverage of Rams Training Camp next on your home of Rams football.
The fun way to drive home is with Sedano and Cap.
Back Monday at 3 p.m.
By the way, sorry I was late. I was marveling at my new bidet that we installed in my office bathroom.
I bought one too. I have to install mine.
Even when Cappy's not here, we still go to the toilets.
Yeah. Nothing like a little warm butt, man. Gotta be honest with you.
Is it a seat warmer too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got that one.
Does it make a difference?
Yeah, it does.
It does. It really does.
Like when you go
when
to
I went to
Europe,
Cabo,
yeah.
when I went to Cabo, the hotel had one in the bathroom, and I was just like, my wife like made the executive decision, like, we're getting one of these.
Yeah, it cleans you up. It cleans you up. Like those little white.
And look, I would say this, like, you know, in California, it can get cold in the mornings and overnight, right? You know what I'm saying? And when you sit down that first time, oh, wait.
Hey,
Sedano and Cap on 710. The fun way to drive home.
Sedano and Cap.
Hey guys, it's Sedano. If you're ready to upgrade your driving experience, you gotta go and check out what's happening at Cadillac and their incredible new lineup of state-of-the-art EVs, sedans, and SUVs. And hey, look, there's no better place to experience the luxury of Cadillac than at Cadillac of Beverly Hills. Check out Cadillac of Beverly Hills and their beautiful showroom at 8767 Wilshire Boulevard in Beverly Hills. And check them out on the web at CadillacBeverlyHills.com.
Hey, it's Greg Bergman, and if you aren't joining Marcus Grant, Parker Bell, and myself every morning on the Blue Review from 8:30 to 8:55 on the ESPN LA YouTube page, what are you even doing with your morning? We break down everything from Shohei hitting bombs to Tanner Scott blowing saves. We talk about the highs and don't brush off the lows. Always honest and talking how we feel. It's all thanks to LAX, where changes are arriving daily and transforming the travel experience. The Blue Review every morning from 8:30 to 8:55 on the ESPN LA YouTube page. The Blue Review. The Blue Review.
Rams fans, the 2025 Rams regular season is right around the corner. Don't miss any regular season home games this year with marquee matchups against the 49ers, Lions, Texans, Buccaneers, and more for only $97 per game. In addition, get home playoff ticket access, interest-free monthly payment plans, and stadium event pre-sale access. Visit therams.com/2025. Again, that is therams.com/2025. Secure your season tickets and see you at the Rams house.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Want to get 30% stronger in just 8 weeks? Then GNC Amp Whey Bolic is your protein. From America's #1 protein powder brand for building strength, Amp Whey Bolic delivers ultra-pure, fast-digesting whey protein packed with 6.2 grams of leucine for faster gains in muscle growth and recovery. If you want more out of every workout, then settle for nothing less than a premium formula that's third-party tested for over 285 banned substances and proven to get you stronger, faster. Go to your local GNC for Whey Bolic and get ready for gains.
Dive into the Marvel Universe on the official Marvel Podcast. We're going behind the scenes with the creators behind Marvel Comics, the stars of the MCU, and Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige.
But if you want the real answer, if we're trying to get real on this podcast,
celebrate the legacy of your favorite Marvel adventures and characters. The official Marvel Podcast.
I think this show's gonna be a real treat.
New episodes every Wednesday wherever you listen to podcasts.
Marcus and Andy live from Rams training camp on your Sunday right now.
Hi, this is Matthew Stafford of your Los Angeles Rams. It's time for Rams training camp.
Once again, we head back to the practice field at LMU. And once again, Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky on ESPN LA.
AK and Marcus-a-Palooza, just 7 more minutes before the concert, the 3-day festival comes to an end.
Taking
the headliners are right now, huh? The headliners are performing right now, huh?
Taking the big tent down. Now everybody's kind of hanging out the back, waiting for the final song so you can get to the car and head home at this point.
Radio's version of Coachella is officially winding down. But you raised an interesting question, Marcus, and we're live at LMU Rams training camp, which is also in the books now. It is completely cleared out other than the interns on the field running routes and embarrassing themselves. You mentioned the idea of Matthew Stafford, and we know he's going to be under center this year. He is currently under contract for 2026 as well, but he's 37 now. The end is much closer than the beginning, and the Rams at some point are going to need to find a successor for Matthew Stafford. It could, by definition, come through trade because that's how they got Stafford in the first place as a very, very finished product. But if, say, it came through the draft, and like when the Rams made that deal with the Falcons getting their number 1 pick in 2026, there was a lot of speculation that the Falcons could suck. And yeah,
history has made that a good speculation. Yes.
But if that ended up happening, that the Rams might use that pick on, say, Arch Manning, drafting a quarterback and making him the heir apparent to Matthew Stafford. Do you picture the Rams doing something like that, particularly with Sean McVey, who, I mean, we don't really know how much patience he has for a rebuild just because he's never done it before? I mean, even the team that he took over, with Jared Goff only in his second season and stuff like that, they had talent. Like, they were a playoff caliber team. He's never taken on, like, that inexperienced of a quarterback, like, right from the beginning, straight out of the chute.
No, he hasn't. But look, if we believe in Sean McVay, you got to believe that he could coach that guy up. Now, I think ideally, if you are the Rams, you would like to get that guy in the building when you still have maybe a year of Stafford, right? To let him sort of watch. And I know that's not the way things work now. If you're spending a high draft pick on a quarterback, chances are you're putting that guy on the field right away because you only have so many years of him under that rookie contract. But ideally, I think you look around at guys who maybe have waited a year or two. I mean, Aaron Rodgers waited under Brett Favre. Jordan Love waited under Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith for a year in Kansas City. That was a playoff team, and they decided to make the move afterwards. I'm curious because the draft class, I don't know, is particularly deep this year. Everybody is excited about Arch Manning, but I don't know if this is the deepest class. The free agent market doesn't look particularly great either.
Let me ask you this, too, because I will admit I don't watch a ton of college football anymore. Like, I just don't have the time or the bandwidth. Is Arch Manning as much a concept as he is a player?
Right now he is, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, if his name was Arch Jones,
right?
Like, how much belief do you think people would have in Arch Jones based off what they've seen?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's obviously talent there, right? But
sure, I'm not saying that he's a fraud. I'm just saying he's pretty unproven.
He's unproven. He's started 2 games in his career because Quinn Ewers was a good quarterback for the University of Texas. So, yeah, the hype is, I would say, 75% based on name value and 25% based on ability. Now, this is the year he gets to prove himself and prove to everybody that the ability does match up to the name. But, I mean, right now, people are already talking about him as being the guy everybody is going for, with Lucas over there making a solid one-handed catch.
One-handed catch on a ball, quite frankly, thrown way behind
I'm looking at a 2026 mock draft on Tinkathon. They have Arch Manning number 1.
Number one
overall.
So Can I ask this question, right? Because
2 one-handed catches.
Because we've had the campaigns, right? We had suck for luck and all these other campaigns. If we're gonna do that for this year, what would you prefer? Would we call this year the March for Arch?
Oh, I like that.
Or
trademark that now.
Or would you go with Arch Madness?
Ooh,
that's not bad.
I think I'm leaning, and I think I'm leaning toward Arch Madness.
So am I.
That's good.
Because a march towards something normally sounds mighty and with strength.
There's some success involved in it.
Right, like these teams that are marching towards Arch, they're essentially just marching backwards. As Bomani Jones would say, they're hustling
backwards, yes.
Yeah, so I don't think it's what's happening is actually worthy of a march. Arch Madness, though, however, it is going to be madness down the stretch when some of these teams recognize we are terrible. Mm-hmm. We have nothing to play for except that kid, particularly if he plays well.
Well, and inevitably, because it always happens, there's going to be some team that is in the running for the number 1 pick and will inexplicably win a game late in the season that they probably shouldn't have.
Like the Carolina Panthers did a couple seasons ago.
Why don't these teams take advantage of the NFL allows ties? You can actually tie and get yourself out of this. Like, you don't have to win if you don't need to win.
Also, wouldn't the NFL be beneficial from like a draft lottery more?
My very controversial opinion is that they should abolish the draft and have rookie free agency.
Ooh.
That would be interesting. So it just comes out of whatever you have available in your cap?
Yeah, just come out. Like, we have free agency now, that works for veterans. Like, why should we just have rookie free agency? You can make it a whole week's worth of things. You could just do it like guys picking their colleges, right? You could have, like, Shedeur Sanders standing there with, like, a Browns hat, whatever, like 3 different hats, and he just puts on the one of the team he's going to sign with.
But the problem is, though, he's not even – well, he does have some choice. I guess it is ultimately his choice whether or not to sign with that guy.
If he gets multiple offers,
and this
right?
would be great because then you could do like a reality TV-style show where all of these billionaire owners who are used to owning every room that they're in, they got to dazzle some punk kid.
Yep. Jerry Jones has to put a PowerPoint presentation.
NFL Love Island.
To convince Arch Manning to sign with the Cowboys.
All right, man. This has been a fun weekend. We have been at Rams training camp. AK and Marcus Apalooza, always fun working with you, man. Appreciate everybody who's helped put the show on. Andy Kamenetzky, Marcus Grant, 710 ESPN.
And this is the Rams Training Camp Special with Marcus Grant and Andy Kamenetzky.
Hi, this is Devontae Adams of your LA Rams. It's time for Rams Training Camp.
Training camp coverage presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino, official California gaming and casino partner of the Los Angeles Rams. Your perfect entertainment resort and casino combination is always available at